amount of ground attack against the Bills' poor rushing defense.
Bills are after their first 5-0 start since 1980. In Dallas, the Giants paying a visit.
Hey, I see this as a close game. It won't be Emmitt Smith's day. I don't know I'm saying this, but James Dixon is the kickoff return specialist for the Cowboys. Leads the league. It's going to be an offensive-defensive struggle, and he's going to break it wide open with a big one.
Meanwhile, New Orleans is at Atlanta, and Tampa Bay is at Detroit. We hope you'll enjoy all of those, everyone. Most of you, those games coming up next. Terry and I will be back at halftime and throughout the afternoon with scores and highlights. But right now, guess what? Game time.
Thanks, Greg. Some of the NFL's most successful quarterbacks wore number 12, including my idols, Joe Namath and Terry Bradshaw. What I admired most about these two quarterbacks was the way they performed in big games, not to mention the Super Bowl rings that they wear. Hi, I'm Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills, and today on CBS, we meet the undefeated Chicago Bears in what we call a big game. We'll be back with a battle of the unbeatens right after a word from your local station.
This is CBS.
Why does Marine Midland work so well for so many? You can talk to us. Talk savings with Lynn Welsh. Her interest has helped hundreds earn more interest. Education, see Linda Gilbert. She's put 1,300 kids through college, including 2 of her own. It's not just billions in assets or hundreds of branches that make us what we are. Marine people do it so well because they do it so much. So let's work it out together. See Bill Ryan. He spent the last 5 years thinking retirement for folks like these.
A hair-raising stunt show has these tourists on the edge of their seat on the next Candid Camera.
7:30 Monday on Channel 4.
Hello, I'm Jackie Walker.
And I'm Kevin O'Connell. We hope you're all ready to root on the Bills to win number 5 against those mighty Bears right here on Channel 4.
We also want to invite you to join us tomorrow for our new newscast, News 4 Buffalo at 5, for the day's top stories, weather, sports, and special features.
We hope you'll join us weekdays at 5 for News 4 Buffalo at 5.
Next. Next. A death scene from Lear. Next. Thank you. Next. No.
If it's out there, it's in here.
Next.
The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
You're watching WIBB TV. We're for Buffalo.
Stadium has been sold out since last July for the first invasion of the Bears in 12 years, going against the Bills in a battle of undefeateds. And the weather couldn't be any better at any time of the year. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen. There is a big game atmosphere. The electricity has been evident here in the stadium hour before this kickoff getting underway. And despite the fact, Merlin, that both teams are undefeated, they're not totally pleased with their play. And let's start with the Bears. Their running game just simply hasn't done it yet.
And that's a big surprise for Chicago. Mike Ditka's Bears have always been able to take that ball and run it right down your throat. They have not been doing that in 1991. They've got to try and run the ball today. That's Buffalo's weakness defensively. But if they can't run the football, we may see an entirely different side of this Bear offensive personality here today.
And they've got a guy who can change the personality in Jim Harbaugh. Meanwhile, the Bills are banged up defensively, as you mentioned, but they've got Bruce Smith back in the lineup. Still, that has been their weakness, their Achilles heel so far. What are their thoughts going in?
Well, they really are thin in that defensive line. Bruce's return is big for them in several ways. It obviously makes them more physical up front. But more than anything else, it gives them a shot in the arm, a confidence builder. But let me tell you one thing, they've still got to prove that they can stop the running game, even with Bruce Smith in the lineup.
The Bears have won the toss, and Brad DeLuiso, who does the kickoffs, Johnny Bailey and Mark Green are back deep for the Chicago Bears. DeLuiso was dropped by the Falcons a couple of weeks ago and picked up by the Bills. You already see an example of the kind of wind we have coming from the back of DeLuiso, gusting up to 20 miles an hour.
There's a man who must have a few butterflies going, and Dick, This is not windy by Buffalo standards, but very often when the wind really blows here, you play the passing game going only one direction, and that's downwind.
Henry Jones will be holding for D'Aloiso. The Bills have won 12 consecutive games here at Rich Stadium, including postseason. And the kick goes deep into the end zone. And the Bears will start from their 20. Butch Rolls says hello to Mark Green. And Jim Harbaugh, who had his first 300-yard game of his career. And having a terrific first part of the season, brings out Chicago. Stan Thomas, Mark Bortz, Jay Hilgenberg, Tom Thayer, and Keith Van Horn up front. James Thornton is the tight end. Neil Anderson will have James Rouse as his partner in the backfield. Wendell Davis and Tom Waddle. Waddle getting the start at wide receiver, and well-deserved. Bruce Smith opens up at defensive end. Harbaugh to throw on first down. Doesn't see anybody, will run as he can, and gets a first down beyond the 30-yard line. Leonard Smith, the strong safety, making the tackle.
Bruce Smith exploding off the football. Watch this first step. Unfortunately, Harbaugh feels the pressure, steps up, and with room to run, shows you one of his best attributes, his mobility. Down here, he complains about the hit.
First down on the 31. Bears have won 4 squeakers so far this year, but they won them all. And the handoff is to Neil Anderson, and he'll be tackled in the backfield by Carlton Bailey, and a loss on the play of 6 yards.
They go right at Bruce Smith. You want to find out how that knee is doing? What do? Right there. Bam! And Bruce Smith up off the ground and maybe happy because he's now taken a real shot on that knee, and it didn't give. You've got to get over that emotional crisis. Can I take the shot on the knee? Bruce tested it there.
He has not played a football game since the Pro Bowl last winter. Second down and 15. And on the delay, here's Neil Anderson off the right side. He doesn't get much, and that will bring up 3rd and long as the Bills' defense is aroused on this first possession. Leon Seals, Mike Lodish, and Bruce Smith in the lineup in the front 3. The linebackers for the Bills, Cornelius Bennett, he's had a fine first 4 games. Shane Conlon, Carlton Bailey, and Darryl Talley, the other linebackers. Kirby Jackson starts for J.D. Williams, who's on injured reserve. Nate Odom's the other cornerback, with Mark Kelso and Leonard Smith, the 2 safeties. It'll be 3rd down and 13 for Chicago.
Cap Bozzo helped off the field on that last play.
Cliff Hicks is in the game as an extra defensive back for the Bills. Harbaugh getting some pressure, and the pass is nearly intercepted by Cliff Hicks, the nickelback. But that'll bring up 4th down, and the Bears will have to kick.
Bruce Smith had shifted inside. He comes in a stun on that last play and powers over the top. Gets a big piece right there of Harbaugh at the end of that play, along with Cornelius Bennett.
Maury Buford will kick, and a fine first series for Bruce Smith in his first action of 1991 after undergoing arthroscopic knee surgery in preseason. Al Edwards is back deep for the Bills. The clock is at 5. And the Bills stormed it, and not a good kick. And it's going to take a Buffalo roll inside Bear territory down at the 41-yard line. A 13-yard kick by Buford.
Buford kicking into the wind, and a fierce rush gets off a bad punt and gives Buffalo great field position.
Dodge announces the new Magnum Series engines. Engines that deliver as much as 44% more power here's a simple promise. Overall, today's Dodge trucks, gas and diesel, can deliver more payload, towing, and horsepower than Ford, Chevy, or any import. Dodge trucks, a powerful way to rediscover American value. Now get a warranty choice no other manufacturer offers.
Craft Caravan Incorporated. Are you having trouble getting an international operator? All Nations Forwarding. Are you having more trouble getting overseas faxes through on the first try? We want you back. AT&T Pro Watts. Competitive prices on international calls, plus our new Favorite Nation 10% discount. Switch now and get 1 month of long distance free. We want you back. Call 1-800-222-0900.
Then, this is now. The generation, distribution, and control of energy are at the heart of Siemens today, where you work, live, and play. And with 35,000 people at work nationwide, Siemens is leading the way into the next century. Siemens, precision thinking.
Back here at Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo defense smothered the Bears in a 13-yard kick. Rushed by Maury Buford has given the Bills terrific field position, starting from the Bears' 41 for Buffalo's first possession of the game. Jim Kelly, who leads the NFL with 11 touchdown passes. 3 wide receivers on first down. Kelly's pass is incomplete. It was intended for Don Beebe, and defending was Donnell Wolford. The rest of Jim Kelly's offense. Up front, Wolford, Richter, Hull, Davis, and Ballard. McKellar is the tight end. Davis has been banged up. Thurman Thomas, the running back. Carwell Gardner, the fullback. And Thurman Thomas, with his first carry, just about gets back to the line of scrimmage as Singletary with a little shoving match with John Davis.
You get the feeling already of the tempo of this game as Buffalo quickly back to the line. They'll take their moment only to get the play straight, and then they're going to fire. They're going to get you going in a hurry.
3rd down and 9 for the Bills. Out of the shotgun. Kelly's pass. And unable to handle it is James Lofton off his fingertips, and that will bring up 4th down. So the Bears were in perilous condition on first down, and they held here.
That play obviously could have netted the first down as Lofton was open, but Kelly just overthrew him. That may be the result of this wind coming in behind, but Kelly does have a tendency at times to float that pass.
Chris Moore, who played with Montreal of the World League, and going back deep is Johnny Bailey. And the Bears put on a rush of their own, and the kick aimed out of bounds. And I think Moore was not particularly pleased with that, because the Bears are going to get it beyond the 20-yard line. So when you considered where he kicked it, only an 18-yard punt. So now Jim Harbaugh brings out the Bears, and Neil Anderson really has not had an outstanding season statistically so far, Merlin.
Not since Mike Ditka came have they had this kind of trouble running the football. That's a very experienced offensive line, but they're minus Jimbo Covert, their powerful left tackle. They still have the same group that's been together since 1985, but they're getting older, and they have not been able to open the holes as well as they have in the past.
And the handoff is to Neil Anderson. Anderson going up the middle. He has never finished a season averaging less than 4 yards a carry, and right now Anderson is averaging only 3.5. Darryl Talley making the tackle from his inside linebacking position.
Well, and of course that includes that big 42-yard gain that he had against the Giants. Here are the numbers, and you look down at from 82 to 91. The only 2 years that they have been under 4, Ditka's first year and this year. This year's numbers the lowest on that chart.
2nd down and 5 on the 28. Boso and Thornton are double tight ends. And the give is to Anderson, dives forward, penalty marker thrown. Our first flag of the game as Anderson is tackled at the 32-yard line by Cornelius Bennett. against the Chicago Bears? Is it Neil Anderson or some other aspect? And Mike Ditka said, simply, we're not opening up holes for Neil.
Neil has had some pretty well documented personal problems early in the year, but I talked to him just before the game. He said, look, I can put that stuff aside. I'm here to play and to do the best job I can. Neil Anderson is ready to play.
Holding. 86. Offense. 10 yards. 3 plays, second down.
Caposo, the tight end, guilty of holding.
Ditka's concerned before this game, both Bozo and James Thornton, the other tight end, were injured last week, and there was real concern as to whether they would be available. So far, we've seen a lot of Bozo, not a great deal of Thornton.
It'll be second down and 15 with a little more than 10.5 remaining in the first quarter.
Thornton is in there now, Dick.
And the Bills rush 4. And Harbaugh in trouble. Throws off balance and incomplete. It was intended for Neil Anderson, but another penalty marker is down, and Harbaugh is upset and will have intentional grounding called against the Bears quarterback.
And there's no question about it, Dick. Anytime the official deems that the quarterback has thrown the ball away to avoid the sack, he's going to throw the flag. Harbaugh, it's a little screenplay, and it just doesn't work out. They knocked the back down inside. Harbaugh knows he's about to get sacked by Bruce Smith, simply threw the ball out of bounds. Did not do a very good job of acting on that play.
Both Mike Lodish, the nose tackle, and Bruce Smith stormed in on Harbaugh. So they lose it down as well and are back up. Referee, Tom White.
Ineligible lineman downfield. Number 62 and 60 on the offense. Penalty is declined. We have an illegal forward pass. Intentional grounding on the quarterback. The ball will be put at the top of the foul. The down counts, third down.
So Thomas and Bortz were downfield. They declined that penalty because they want the loss of down as well. It'll be third down and 23. Third down and 26. Harbaugh in his own end zone, looking deep and going deep, and wide open is Waddle down there, and Waddle was out of bounds. It will not go. Mark Kelso was defending, and a good long toss by Harbaugh, but that will bring up fourth down. And a penalty marker is down on the 5-yard line.
So very close for the hero of last week's game.
Number 80, prior to the snap, there is no
Waddle
play.
breaks it upfield. Plenty of time here, but just steps out with the first ball there. And Waddle showing surprising speed. That's not his strength.
The Bears caught a break. Because of the false start, the play does not count. You cannot decline a false start penalty. So the Bears will get another play out of it. Third down and 31 upcoming now with the ball at the 3-yard line.
So far, this defense has responded admirably. They have been driven on early by most every team they have played this season. That's not been the case here by the Bears.
Pass is caught by Wendell Davis, but way short of first down yardage. All Harbaugh wanted to do was get out of real danger and give Maury Buford some room to kick.
Exactly right. Terrible field position to punt from. They're still kicking into that wind, but it's not as bad as it would have been if they had not been able to draw a completion on that last play.
Al Edwards is back deep. He already is standing in Bears territory. Maury Buford's first kick was 13 yards. Let's see if he does better this time. He does. High kick. Edwards at the 45 of Buffalo. Whoa. And hit hard as he just barely gets into Bear territory. And a crunching tackle that time by rookie Darren Lewis. Timeout with 9:55 remaining in the first quarter. No score.
Pick up line 2. I need that fire now. Line 4.
Find the blueprint.
Where's the architect?
Sell!
Short the market!
The power to put it all behind you. To kiss all the stress, all the stomach-churning headaches of business goodbye. That's the power of United. That's the power of the friendly skies.
Recently, these people walked out of Little Caesars with extra pepperoni and cheese without paying for it. Extra pepperoni. Extra cheese. Without paying for it. It's lots of lots. Get extra pepperoni and extra cheese on 2 pieces without paying extra.
Lots of.
At $8.98, it's a steal.
From coast to coast, Dodge Caravan has happily served more families than any other minivan. But we've made it even better because we've come up with an all-wheel drive Dodge Caravan. So now you not only get a vehicle loaded with safety features, including the first minivan airbag, you've got one that automatically handles just about anything the weatherman can throw at it. No shifting, no levers, no sweat. Now with a warranty choice no other manufacturer offers.
Well, we feel that at any given time we definitely can score. We know, and I know as an offensive team, we know we put a lot more pressure on our defense because we're on and off the field so quickly. But our objective is to get the ball in the end zone, and we do have a lot of confidence that we can do that.
And they have done it very well during this season, but they have not gotten off to a good start here offensively. Kelly misthrowing on a couple of open receivers. They'd like to get it back and cranking here.
First down on the Bears' 49-yard line. A play fake on first down. Kelly directing his receivers in the pass to Andre Reed. He manages to make the catch. Marcus Paul made the hit, and his forward progress will give him 12 yards and enough for a Buffalo first down to the 37.
They won't waste any time. Andre Reed, a brilliant receiver, fearless, going across the middle. I think he's the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Sean Gale, who had been on injured reserve, is in the lineup now, playing a weak side linebacker, and they're going to get a sack. I know the Fridge is in there somewhere, and a few of his friends, including Tim Ryan, who's starting today, and John Roper, who put the pressure on.
Tim Ryan in there because of Trace Armstrong's injury. Told me, he said, this is my opportunity to show them what I can do. Emotionally pumped for this game and gets off to a flying start with that sack.
An 8-yard loss, second down and 18. Out of the shotgun, and now a direct handoff. Thurman Thomas going outside and ridden out of bounds by Sean Gale. So Sean Gale, who had been on injured reserve, coming into this game with a stress fracture of the shin, is back in, but not playing his normal defensive back position.
He's actually moved up, and on that last play was playing at a weak linebacker's position. That's something that a number of teams have done to Buffalo this year, playing with those 5 defensive backs. There's the strong safety right there. Marcus Paul has done a great job.
Third down and 8. Kelly over the middle has Andre Reed. He gets by one defender and is ridden out of bounds. That was Jim Morrissey who made the tackle, and a gain of 4 yards.
The Buffalo Bills love to bring their receivers across the middle. Kelly throws those inside patterns as well as any quarterback in football. And the thing that those Bills receivers do best is to run after the catch. Andre Reed very good at that.
Scott Norwood, who has kicked a 52-yarder this year, will attempt one from 49 yards. Frank Reich, the backup quarterback, will hold.
They didn't have all the bodies on the field for Chicago, so they call a timeout. Ditka will not be pleased with that. Steve Kazor, the special teams coach, right in front of him there, getting a little bit of information from Ditka's mouth there.
Chicago, that's their first timeout.
That's a timeout that the Bears didn't need to call, and you can see that Mike Ditka, who's not afraid to give his assistants a tongue lashing in full view of 80,000 fans. Timeout with 8:53 remaining in the first quarter. 0-0.
Reconsider. The company picnic's on today. No one's working, it's time to play. We're having fun with the whole crew. Nothing beats a bud with you, yeah. Nothing beats our best Budweiser. Nothing beats a bud. And we'll toast and cheer with the king of beer. Nothing beats a bud.
25
95% of business people travel to small towns. That's why from Opelika, Alabama to Calais, France, you'll find us. Holiday Inn. Stay with someone you know who really knows you.
The Allstate agent who helps insure your car can give you a hand with a plan for life insurance. Your Allstate agent wants to be your agent for life. Allstate Life. Financial strength you can count on.
7 years ago, Nick Stiles put him away for life.
Busting you made me famous.
Now, he's watching.
I got things to live for.
And waiting.
Somebody's laughing. I can hear it in my blood.
For revenge.
Now we're even, is that it? We're not even close. Come on!
Denzel Washington, John Lithgow, Ice-T. Ricochet, rated R. Starts Friday, October 4th at a theater near you.
When the ship was hit and it was going to go down, I jumped off, and when I came up out of the water, the ship was gone.
Based on the true story, Mission of the Shark, tonight.
Back here at Rich Stadium, you know who he roots for. This will be a 49-yard field goal attempt. So far this year, Norwood has connected on 5 of 9 attempts. This one's blocked.
A low kick, I think.
Marv Levy shaking his head. Very little offense so far, and it looks as if James Williams, who's at 6'7", got a hand on that field goal attempt by Scott Norwood.
The big rookie of Mike Ditka said he's going to get some playing time today. We're going to find out how good he is. Let's see if we can find Big 71. He's going to be about right in here, but watch him as he raises up. This kick is not very high. Penetration first, and then the lifted arms, and you see it right there as number 71 gets a hand on it, but that was just a low kick. That was not necessarily a great block.
So the Bears will try again. Well, we talk about prolific offense with the Bills. They've not shown much so far, and the Bears trying to get something going.
This plays into the Bears' hands. They're more comfortable in a low-scoring game.
First down on the Bears, 31. Harbaugh to throw. Receivers covered, goes down the middle, and the pass is caught. And it's James Thornton, the tight end. And Carlton Bailey makes the tackle, a gain of 25 yards, and that's a good play by Thornton, who was injured, suffered a hamstring pull in overtime in Monday night's victory over the Jets.
They were really concerned he would not be able to play at all today. He is there and makes a big play. The biggest difference in this team for the Chicago Bears this year is Harbaugh and his growth as a throwing quarterback. There was a time when people said he is never going to make that transition. Well, he has done that, and he has won some games for the Bears so far this season with his throwing arm.
Bears in Bills territory for the first time on the 43-yard line, and Neil Anderson dives forward to the 40-yard line. Shane Conlon and Carlton Bailey make the tackle, a gain of only 3, but it'll be interesting to see if the Bills have improved in their run defense, something that every team has been able to pound away, including Tampa Bay last week.
Well, certainly in the early going, this Bill front much stiffer than we expected against the run. But that was with the adrenaline and the pump of the opening of this game. Now we've settled down to business. They've got to keep proving it.
Second down and 7. 2 tight end formation for the Bears. Play fake and a rollout by Harbaugh, being chased by Smith. But Capboso can't hold on to it. He was covered downfield by Darryl Talley, and that will bring up 3rd down. And right now, for an NFL update, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Dick, at the Silverdome in Detroit, Barry Sanders from 7 yards out wins the race to the corner. The point after made it 7-0, and after an interception, the Lions are back inside the 30-yard line again. Dick?
Here's a team that was embarrassed against Washington, and they've been terrific ever since, going for their 4th straight win.
Mike Lodush in the middle of that defense. He's got his hands full on Jay Hilgenberg.
Mark Green in the lineup as a receiver. Out on the wing on 3rd down and 7. Harbaugh has time, and his pass is overthrown. He was going for...
The pass intended for Anthony Morgan is incomplete.
Morgan, the rookie wide receiver.
Harbaugh getting a little bit of pressure, but not a great deal as his offensive line gives him time here. But the hand goes up in front of his face. And to get that ball off, he had to shoot it a little bit high. Morgan could not get up to pull it down.
So Maury Buford is in the punt for the third time, and Al Edwards, who is questionable with a hamstring pull in his own right, is standing on the 10-yard line. No score with just about 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Fair catch called for by Edwards, and he makes the catch at the 15-yard line. A 26-yard kick, but the Bills will have their worst starting position. They began the first 2 times in Chicago territory. Well, this is just the first of a big CBS NFL doubleheader later today. Game 2, the 49ers against the Raiders at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Some of you will see Green Bay at the Rams.
Well, Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig looking for a chance in regular season to go up against their old teammates in San Francisco. I'd like to be inside of one of their heads today.
First down for the Bills on the 15-yard line. Thurman Thomas tests the middle of the Bears line, and he gets something and more than he needs as he gets the first down. Beyond the 25-yard line, Lemuel Stinson and Ron Rivera combining to make the tackle on the leading rusher.
If you like watching good running backs, what a pleasure here today. Thurman Thomas and Neil Anderson on the same field. Thomas with a brilliant run there. Great change of direction, picks up the first down.
3 wide receivers. They go back to Thomas. This time he only gets a couple. Thomas's rushing performance has dropped each game, despite the fact he leads the league in rushing.
He seems to play better at home, as do these Buffalo Bills. When they're back to the line in a hurry, they don't give you much time to rest defensively.
Second down and 8. This time Kelly goes to the air, and the pass intended for Lofton is broken up. Donnell Wolford downfield, and that will bring up third down. Unlike the Bengals, they don't wait for that clock to get down to 2.
Kelly a little upset. He has had excellent pass protection so far during the year. This is a fine pass protecting line, the best in fact in football. But the pressure is getting to Kelly today. The Bears are able to get in his face.
6 defensive backs against Kelly. There's a penalty marker down, and the pass is intercepted by Mark Carrier. He'll outrace the Bills into the end zone for a score, but let's wait for the penalty. You'll hear the roar if it's called against the Chicago Bears.
They're bringing it back. They're bringing it back, Dick. And that's a big break for the Buffalo Bills.
Offside. Number 96, defense in the neutral zone, 5 yards.
Tim Ryan.
Third down.
Number 96, Tim Ryan. And emotionally charged. We said he's starting and really getting his first opportunity because of the injury to Trace Armstrong, and makes a costly error there. Costs his team a chance at a touchdown.
He cost them a touchdown, actually. 43 yards. Return for a score by Carrier nullified, so it's third down and 3, and Kelly is going deep for Don Beebe. He had a shot at it, had beaten Stinson downfield, but it was off his fingertips, and that will bring up fourth down.
Beebe, a straight line speed receiver. Kelly showing you the strength of his arm. So very, very close. 4 touchdowns against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said, hey, they don't let me rest. The offensive linemen, the defensive linemen are asking, when are you going to get those 4 touchdowns again?
Chris Moore will kick. His first punt went 17 yards, and Johnny Bailey goes back deep for the Bears. And a fine kick by Moore. Bailey to try to return from the 25 and goes nowhere, and that was Steve Tasker. He's the ace of the special teams.
These are remarkable cars, and I've left all this space to show you why. First, Dodge Spirit and Plymouth Acclaim are the lowest priced 6-passenger cars in the world, even with an airbag and all the goodies you see here. But okay, you want to spruce it up, so you start adding options: air, automatic, 4-speaker stereo. When you're through, you'll find that Spirit and Acclaim, with all this, are still the lowest priced 6-passenger cars on the planet.
Now, get a warranty choice no other manufacturer offers.
Some men would rather live their lives sheltered in the harbor, and some would rather sail into life with the unmistakable scent of Old Spice. Clean, true, and classic. Old Spice, one of the legends of the sea. It was a good day for ideas. Plans for a sidewalk cafe were finalized. A river walk was proposed. And someone had the vision to bring luxury and romance back to train travel. Keep those ideas coming, and we'll keep making them look their best. LaserJet printers from Hewlett-Packard.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
No score in the first quarter, and that's to Mike Ditka's liking. 3-24 when his opponents score 4 touchdowns or more a game. The most points the Bears have scored this year was 21 in their victory over Tampa Bay.
The Bears' formula for years: play that tough, hard-nosed defense, run the football, control the football, keep the score down, and then you're going to win the ball game.
The last thing they want is a shootout. 1st and 10 for the Bears on their own 25-yard line. Neil Anderson up the middle, gets stopped and stopped hard at the 29-yard line by Shane Conlon. A pickup of 4.
Conlon very pleased to see number 78 back in the lineup. Told us that one of the things that happens when Bruce is at that right end position, teams have to change their blocking patterns. They can't concentrate inside on the linebackers and on the nose man the way they ordinarily would. And the only question we would ask about Bruce, can he last the whole ball game? He certainly proved to be in much better playing shape than I believed he could be in this first ball game.
He's been in on every defensive play thus far. 2nd down and 6 for the Bears.
Stairmaster's working.
And the handoff is to James Rouse, who's forced to play fullback today in the absence of Brad Muster, who re-injured his hamstring against the New York Jets. And the Bears are really going to miss Muster this afternoon.
They certainly are. Not just his blocking, which he does so well, but a fine, fine runner. And he is the flare pass receiver, the outlet pass receiver for Harbaugh. He and Harbaugh with a very good understanding of where he would be and a great confidence level. They're going to miss his performance on the field, but they need him in the latter part of the season. They want that hamstring to heal. He will not play today.
3rd down and 1. And a quarterback sneak by Harbaugh.
He didn't get much.
This is the way the Monday night game ended after they had to call the players back in the overtime session.
It looks like he got enough for the first down. Yes, he did. Ditka more peaceful on the sideline. Made that commitment after his heart attack, and he really has kept it. He is a man much more at peace with himself and much more at peace with his team these days.
1st down on the 36-yard line. Waddle goes in motion. Harbaugh's pass out of the backfield is Neil Anderson. His first reception of the game. Cornelius Bennett makes the tackle, and the Bears pick up 7.
Gain of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3.
One of the things that Mike Ditka talked to us about was the fact that when Harbaugh first started as a quarterback, he felt he had to carry the whole load, that he had to go out and win every game. They had to convince him that, Jim, you don't have to do that. The most important thing we got to ask of you is that you don't make the serious mistake. Help wherever you can. Make the good plays, and Harbaugh is doing that. But he has eliminated a lot of the silly mistakes he made as a young quarterback.
And he's been a lot more patient and has stayed in the pocket longer. 2nd down and 3. Play fake. Harbaugh nearly tackled from behind, but gets it off to James Rouse. And about 6 Bills bring Rouse down. It will be a 1st down for the Bears, as Harbaugh got it away, and that's where the in-the-grass rules change has affected this game. And
Talley coming inside. Number 56, Darryl Talley, has slid inside, gets away from the center, Hilgenberg, and on the legs here. But Harbaugh is strong enough that he stays up and gets that pass off. very, very gutsy play by Harbaugh. And again, that would not have been allowed last year. You'd have been in the grasp, and they'd have whistled that one dead.
Bears get another first down. That was a fine ad-lib play.
These fans don't like the change in the rules, Dick.
And here's a reverse as Anderson gives it to the rookie wide receiver Anthony Morgan. But the Bills are there, and they're happy about it. A gain of only 1 yard. That didn't really look like much when it started.
A little late coming around, and Bruce Smith had made a good reaction. Carlton Bailey, number 54, the man that's going to drift outside. Also Bruce Smith getting upfield, even though he does it in a stumbling fashion. Watch him jump over Harbaugh right there. But it's number 54, Carlton Bailey, flowing to the outside. And right there, Darryl Talley coming in from the outside. Nobody really fooled on that one.
Second down and 9 as both Anderson and Morgan are split to the left. And Bruce Smith jumps. Let's see if he was drawn offside.
And we got it.
Offside. 78 defense. 5 yards. Second down.
5 yards against the Bills as Smith jumped. That will bring up second down and 4 coming up with 1 minute and 13 seconds to go in the first quarter. No score. Scott Norwood had a 49-yard field goal attempt blocked in the only attempt to score. And actually, Mark Carrier returned an interception for a touchdown, but that was nullified because of a Bears penalty.
Chuck Dickerson sending in Walt Corey's defense.
The pitch to Anderson with Rouse blocking in front of him. And Neil Anderson will have enough for another Chicago first down as he is down at the 37-yard line. A pickup that time of 8 yards. Carlton Bailey again in on the stop for the Bills.
Bears taking advantage of the mobility of their guards. Thayer and Bortz, fine pulling guards. Good block by Thornton, and Neil Anderson running well on that play. The formula for so many teams this year that they've tried to exercise on these Bills is drive the football, control the football, keep it away from the Buffalo Bills offense. Well, the Bears starting to do that here on this drive.
Anderson has gained 18 yards so far on 6 carries. First down on the Bills' 37. With a short drop and his pass to Wendell Davis, and that is a completed pass, and it'll be another Chicago first down. Nate Odoms making the tackle. Bears are marching.
Davis has struggled with hamstring problems. He is healthy now. Harbaugh firing inside. Harbaugh tends to throw the ball with the tip down. Look how that ball sinks. The receivers know that, and they go right to the ground with it.
And that is the end of the first quarter here at Rich Stadium. No score between the undefeated Bears and the 4-0 Buffalo Bills.
The League Championship Series are coming to CBS. Choose sides and get ready for the battles of October.
Dodge announces the new Magnum Series engines. Engines that deliver as much as 44% more power. Drop a 230 horsepower Magnum V8 into a 4x2 Dodge Dakota, and you can outhaul, outpower, and outpull the standard half-ton pickups from Ford and Chevy. Dodge trucks, a powerful way to rediscover American value. Now get a warranty choice no other manufacturer offers.
There is a new gasoline that is clearly advanced. A new gasoline that will give you the highest level of engine cleaning for high performance. A new gasoline formulated to clean fuel injectors and intake valves. Who has this new gasoline? You know. New Phase 4 gasoline from Exxon for cleaner engines and high performance.
CBS sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Dodge, a great way to rediscover American value. Hewlett-Packard LaserJet printers, they'll get you noticed. And by Budweiser, who reminds you friends know when to say when.
Over 80,000 fans at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park. No score after one quarter between the Bears and the Bills.
So far in this game, the story is missed opportunities. For the Bills, they took the ball twice in Bears territory, came away with nothing on either occasion. For the Bears, their missed opportunity was that interception by Mark Carrier in for a touchdown. It was called back because of the penalty.
Time of possession is always an important factor. Perhaps more important for the Chicago Bears, who have a big edge right now, and they have a drive going, the 9th play coming up. They've already chewed up nearly 6 minutes, and they have a first down on the 25 of Buffalo. Start of the second quarter. And once again, Smith jumps. He was called for a 5-yard penalty moments ago. Let's see if he was drawn offside this time.
One of the difficulties, if you have not practiced, is getting off on that football.
Ball start. 60 offense.
That was not Bruce Smith's fault. That was Stan Thomas, the rookie left tackle.
He has been tested well in this first season. A chance to play earlier against Chris Dolman and now against Bruce Smith, two of the quickest defensive ends in football. He's going to be a good one, but they have to give him a lot of help, and they will today against Smith. He won't be stranded out there alone very often.
First down and 15. Harbaugh's throw, and it's intended for Neil Anderson, and it is out of bounds, and covering well was Leonard Smith, the strong safety.
Stan Thomas going wide. He's got an injury to that left shoulder, but you see him working the face right there. He's lucky he did not get called for a penalty. Harbaugh feeling the heat. That ball just thrown a little too far. Anderson out of bounds when he got his hands on it.
The Bears are going to come out with a 4 wide receiver look right now with Morgan, Ron Morris, who's back off injured reserve, Wendell Davis and Tom Waddle on second down and 15.
This is a departure for this Bear offense.
And it's a running play to Neil Anderson. Van Horn blocking in front, and Anderson with a fine run. The best of the game for either side. Gets to the 17-yard line. A pickup of 14 with Nate Odoms making the tackle, and a good block up front.
You spread the field with those 4 wide receivers, and still you've got that great running back in the backfield, Neil Anderson. Watch how quickly he accelerates into the hole behind a fine block there by the off guard there, and does a good job, but he comes up short. He's going to be about a yard short.
Third down and 1 for the Bears. This is the deepest penetration by either team as the Fridge, who picked up a sack in the first quarter, looks on. And it's Neil Anderson trying for the 1 yard, and he dives forward and will have it. So ball control by the Chicago Bears. Nate Odoms making the tackle, and now they're going back to Bear football as we've known it.
Well, you had to know that Mike would test you with that running game here today, and especially against this defense. Neil Anderson going to the outside and to his left, Favors running to the left, and no one runs better to the sideline than Neil Anderson, simply outrunning the defenders, picking up that first down.
Ball is at the 12-yard line. Opening minutes of the second quarter. And again, Smith goes, and the question is, did Thomas draw him offside? Right now, they're 1-1 in that battle.
Ball start. 60, 62 offense, 5 yards, still first down. Fouls prior to the snap.
Ditka pulled the rookie Stan Thomas last week after he'd had a couple of penalties in that game against the Jets. Send Ron Mattis into the game and then put him back into the ball game later, and he settled down. He didn't pull him here, but I'm sure his eyes are on the rookie 60, Stan Thomas.
6th penalty against the Bears. First down and 15. Back to the 17 of Buffalo. The pitch to Neil Anderson, giving ground. And he gets back to the 15-yard line. Carlton Bailey got him by the shoe tops, and that will bring up second down.
Gain of 2, second and 13.
Excellent penetration on the outside by the Buffalo defense. He simply tried to cut it back inside, and there were a lot of bodies waiting for it. Cornelius Bennett on the left side. A lot of people talk about his pass rushing skills. I think he's much better at the point of attack. One of the best run stoppers for a linebacker in the NFL.
They've scored 7 times in 11 possessions inside the 20. They have a second down and 13. Ball is at the 15 of Buffalo. Harbaugh getting big pressure, has to hurry up. He gets it off to Wendell Davis. But a good tackle by Kelso outside of the 10-yard line prevents a bigger gain, 5 yards. And Kelso made a good stop on Wendell Davis.
So important to have that free safety back there with those good eyes. He's like your deep center fielder. He was there to make that stop, so very necessary. Third down now. The Bears looking to pick up that 7 points, but most of all, they don't want to be denied either a touchdown or a field goal here. You don't want to turn it over with a drive like this.
Third down and 8, and 4 wide receivers come in. The last time the Bears used this formation, they ran the ball. Harbaugh going for the end zone to Morgan, off his fingertips, covered by Kirby Jackson, and that will bring up 4th down on the incompletion.
Harbaugh with time to get this football off, but good coverage on the play. Had to try to go on over the head of number 47, Kirby Jackson. He got it over the head of the receiver, too.
A 27-yard field goal attempt by Kevin Butler, 5 for 7 so far this year. Harbaugh will hold. Norwood missed in that direction in the first quarter, and this time the kick is good by Kevin Butler. So we go about 4 minutes into the second quarter before we get our first score of the game. It's 3-0 Chicago.
Who's got the marketing plan?
I do.
Sales forecast?
Right here.
Presentation boards?
Murphy's got them.
Where's Murphy?
This is the final boarding call for Delta Flight 6.
Maddie Klein knows careers are riding on Delta flights.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes. We better go.
Nobody told me you had a cast.
Nobody knew.
Passengers should now be on board.
Maybe that's why more business people fly Delta than ever before.
Mr. Murphy, you have a nice trip.
Thanks. Already had one.
Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
The power of untapped, untouched potential. At GTE, we'll put that power in your hands with a new generation of precision materials. It's the power to make your products faster, stronger, more efficient, and to bring breakthrough ideas to life. We're giving it to others. We can give it to you. The power of a new manufacturing edge. Because at GTE, the power is on.
Shine the lights on you, shine the lights on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see. Shine the lights on this, shine the lights on that. Oh, shining all the others is where Bud Light's at.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. Everything else is just the light. Keep your Bud.
This game summary is sponsored by Bud Light.
The wake-up call.
Chicago using the rushing game. They held the ball for nearly 9.5 minutes and took the lead on a Butler 28-yard field goal. That's been the only scoring so far in a game that figured to be a high-scoring affair, particularly looking at what the Bills have done offensively this year.
There has to be a sense of frustration for Marv Levy, and particularly with his offense. His defense has played pretty darn well, but they have not gotten things going. The responsibility on the field. Kelly calls the plays on the field. Kelly, by the way, has overthrown a couple of key passes in this first quarter.
Kevin Butler to kick off for Chicago.
Kevin Butler will kick off for Chicago. Back deep for the Bills, Eddie Fuller and Al Edwards. Edwards was on the left. A line drive kick, and Edwards fields it on the 2-yard line. And Edwards is down at the 25-yard line, where Buffalo will go to work.
Well, this is a team that can explode in a hurry. If you look at what they have done on the average, 32 points a game, 460 yards compared to the league average. Kelly throwing at 70%. He's certainly not doing that today. And look at the number of plays. The hurry-up offense affording them a full 10 over the NFL average. And there's Ted Marcia-Broda, the offensive coordinator. The game plan goes through his hands to Kelly, but Kelly executes it on the field.
And a first down for the Bills, and Thurman Thomas goes off the right side and crosses the 25-yard line. The Bears have made a defensive replacement. Chris Zorich, the Notre Dame rookie, has joined the defensive line.
They're going to try and rotate those defensive linemen. They're very thin up front, but they'll try and get them in and out, give people a rest. He's right now giving a rest to the Fridge.
On second down.
Oh, no, he's not. There's the Fridge.
Fridge had a sack, his second of the year, and Thurman Thomas doesn't get much on the second straight running play.
How can you miss that body? Number 72, right on the edge of your screen. Playing the best football he's played in 3 years. He's big, yes. 360 pounds. But boy, you don't want to have a Fridge fall on you.
And someone's going to fall on Jim Kelly right here, and it's going to be Tim Ryan. And John Roper, and Roper may get credit for the sack. We'll see. In any event, it is the second sack of the game for the Bears and a loss of 7 yards.
The biggest surprise of this game so far, the breakdown in pass protection from this Buffalo offensive line. Kelly has 2 bodies on him before he can think about getting that ball away.
Johnny Bailey goes back deep, and Chris Moore getting set to kick for Buffalo. Looked like a turkey wing on turkey leg on Thanksgiving, the way Roper was holding on to Kelly. No penalty marker as Bailey calls for the fair catch on his 44-yard line. The crowd was expecting a Chicago penalty. That was a 35-yard kick. And the Bears with a lead with the ball.
It's a car born of intelligent engineering. It's 100,000 ideas fused into one. It's responsive, innovative, refined. It's a driver's side airbag and anti-lock brakes. Introducing the all-new 88 Royale LS. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
There's something new, you're gonna love it. From KFC, it's called the Go Bucket. Pick any kind, just $5.99. At KFC, it's Go Bucket time.
KFC introduces $5.99 Go Buckets. Enjoy original recipe, hot wings, or extra tasty crispy chicken. Choose any one for just $5.99.
Nobody's cooking like today's KFC. Nobody's cooking like today's KFC.
Hi, I sell Sealy Posturepedic. They're so comfortable, I can sell them in my sleep. Especially during Sealy's NFL Hit the Sack sale. We're dropping back the prices on all our Posturepedic mattress sets. Plus, when you buy one, you'll score an NFL jacket or other NFL merchandise. So rush in, tackle the savings, and turn this season into a dream season.
Run in for Sealy's NFL Hit the Sack sale.
I knew that if I died, it would kill my mother, so I kept myself alive just thinking about her.
Based on the true story, Mission of the Shark, tonight.
The offensive linemen on the sideline talking about the protection for Kelly. Their inability to protect their quarterback has severely hampered this Buffalo offense so far in this ballgame.
First and 10 Bears on their 44-yard line. 9:47 remaining in the first half. Ray Bentley has replaced Carlton Bailey at inside linebacker for Buffalo. Harbaugh getting some rush, and the pass is caught out of the backfield. Neil Anderson. And he beat the defense downfield, and in particular, Leonard Smith. Gain of 24 that time into Buffalo territory.
Neil Anderson, such a fine pass receiver. You can treat him like a wide receiver at times. Harbaugh, a nice pass here, but watch the shot that Anderson takes. Bang, right there. Leonard Smith, he'll hit you in that secondary.
And a player is shaken up, and it is Leonard Smith who made some big plays in the Tampa Bay final drive of last week's game that resulted in a Buffalo victory by a touchdown.
When you throw your body recklessly, and that's something that Leonard Smith does frequently. In fact, it was a shot by Leonard Smith on a play last week that wiped out one of his own men, James Williams, J.D. Williams, who was on injured reserve. Looked like he may have bruised his ribs or banged his ribs on that last play.
Right now, let's shift gears a little bit, bring you up to date on the American League East. We're coming into today's play. The Blue Jays were leading the Red Sox by 3.5 games. Toronto leads Minnesota 2-0 in the second inning at the Sky Dome, and Minnesota, with a victory, would wrap up the American League West title. And coming up this Saturday, we'll have baseball action for you. We don't know which game it will be, but it will be a game that is important to the pennant races, and it all starts with Baseball 91 at 2:30 Eastern Time, and we'll take you through the League Championship Series, which begins October 8th, all the way through the World Series in the Battle of October. Darren Lewis is now at running back for the first time, along with Anderson, 1st and 10. Dwight Drain replaced Smith. Penalty marker down, and we may have a false start.
Stan Thomas saying, that wasn't me. Not me, not me. Let's see.
Offsides. Defense is in the offensive backfield. Prior to snap.
It was a penalty against the Bills.
Bruce Smith, number 78. So far, the score is 2-2. Bruce Smith has been offside twice. Stan Thomas has been in motion prematurely twice.
1st down and 5. Early in the game, the Bills spent considerable time in Chicago territory. Now the Bears are in Buffalo real estate. 1st down and 5. The pitch to Neil Anderson, and a good block by Darren Lewis. But Anderson is piled on and right around the 25-yard line by Ray Bentley. Gain of 3.
Stan Thomas came into this league with fine blocking skills. Watch him as he works into his man on this play, gets his block right there, and then stays right on top of Talley to the outside. Doesn't lose track of him, and finally dives at his legs toward the end of that play. Good pass blocking or run blocking by Stan Thomas.
2nd down and 2. Wide receivers to the right. The ball on the 24 of Buffalo. Anthony Morgan in motion. Straight ahead is Anderson, and he dives forward to the 21 and appears to have another Chicago 1st down. Shane Conlon on the stop there.
One of the problems the Bills have had all year long is their defense has been on the field for a high percentage of each game. Not as big a problem on a cool day like today, but so far Corey's defense like 3-1 on the field over what Chicago's defense has been on the field. And that has to begin to pay a dividend for Chicago as this Buffalo defense begins to fatigue.
1st down and 10. On the 20-yard line. Harbaugh. Short drop and a quick pass, and it's to the rookie Morgan, who had to turn around. And the pass is complete at the 12-yard line. Kirby Jackson, who's playing for J.D. Williams today on the stop, and a gain of 9 yards.
One of the things that Bruce Smith hates is to have people on his legs. Watch it right here. Bortz dives right on that knee. Smith stopped at the line of scrimmage, and time for Harbaugh to get that football off.
Bruce Smith playing all the way, has not come out yet for the Bills. By the way, Leonard Smith has come back in at strong safety. He was shaken up a few moments ago. 2nd down and 2. First back through is Darren Lewis. Lewis gets inside the 10-yard line and may have another 1st down for the Bears. They are playing ball control, but there's a flag down in the backfield.
A motion penalty, I believe, against the Bears is going to shut it down.
Illegal motion. 2 men moving in the backfield. The setback plus the motion man. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Well, the head coaches hate that kind of penalty there.
But you notice that he takes it calmly. There was a time when he would have been furious.
With the penalty, 2nd and 7.
A little bit of intensity there. Jay Hilgenberg, the center. Boy, he'll look you right in the eye. He's watching for the littlest movement there. Quickly, you see those hands come up. Wanted to know where 50, Ray Bentley, was. That was his man. What a fine center he is.
2nd down and 7. This time Lewis goes in motion. Harbaugh with a jump pass to Anderson to the 5. Penalty down. Anderson gets in for the score, but there's a penalty marker down.
We may have a pick call on that play. Looked like one of the defenders hit before that ball was thrown.
Apparently against the Bears. That'll nullify a touchdown. That's the 2nd time today the Bears have gone in for a score and it had to be nullified because of a penalty.
Well, he didn't erupt yet. Still quiet on the sideline. A smile from Levy.
Number 33, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
Darren Lewis. So they'll nullify the score and mark off 10 yards to boot.
There was the reaction. The play is outside of the range. There you see it right there, right at the end of that at the far right-hand side. You saw Lewis blocking before the ball was caught.
Instead of a touchdown, it's 2nd down and 17. 4 wide receivers for the Bears on the 27. And they try to give it to the last minute to Neil Anderson. Cornelius Bennett led the charge and a loss of 5 yards. And Harbaugh looked like to say, hey, you take it. I don't want to get away. I want to get away from these guys.
Even though this Bills defense has struggled with run defense, they've given up a lot of plays, a lot of yardage. They have come up with big plays. Left-hand side of your screen, a man who comes up with big plays week after week. 97, Cornelius Bennett, and a whole host of friends.
Down and 22. Bears are slowly getting out of field goal range as well. 6 defensive backs. And Bennett charging in on Harbaugh. Laterals to Neil Anderson. And Anderson is stopped inside the 25 by Cliff Hicks, the extra back.
One of the shortest passes of the year. And, of course, that goes forward, but it's legal behind the line of scrimmage. They almost had Harbaugh. A heady play by Harbaugh. Good reaction by Neil Anderson. Well, this is just like a handoff. Watch the pressure on Harbaugh. He'll step up right at the end of this play. Bennett has him in his sights. Steps up, realizes he's going to go down, just flips it there.
It was a gain of 8, but that was a good gain for the Bears because now Butler can try a field goal. 41 yards. He's kicked one earlier from 28. And this one is also good. There are no flags, so Kevin Butler with his 2nd field goal has given the Bears a 6-0 lead with under 5 minutes to go in the first half.
The power of intelligent engineering is routinely put to the test at Oldsmobile. And here's the result. Of all the Cutlass Sierras ever sold in the last 10 years, we can say 96% are still on the road. Safely say, Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Radio Shack, America's technology store.
Sale prices have never been better at Radio Shack. Here's proof. This realistic high-power in-AM/FM radio cassette with 30 presets just reduced to $99.95. Or this high-quality voice-actuated realistic micro-cassette recorder for school or office, only $33.88. Radio Shack has over 80 cassette player recorder models to choose from. Shop your friendly nearby Radio Shack. Great selection, superior service. Nobody compares.
Where do you want to be in 20 years? Well, my father worked for the same company for 39 years. He got 2 weeks vacation, but we never traveled far. He was saving to put 3 kids through college. At 65, he retired. At 67, he died. How can I invest so that after my kids graduate, I can enjoy the second half of my life? You can get there from here with Shearson Lehman Brothers.
For the right woman and the right man, love means never having to say, excuse me. The Naked Gun, Tuesday.
We have more than 80,000 fans in a game that's been sold out for months here at Rich Stadium in Orchard Park. Two undefeated teams at 4-0 clashing on the 5th week of the season. A high-scoring game was expected, particularly since the Bills are in this game, but the Bears, when their ball control, have controlled the game, leading 6-0. Kevin Butler kicking off, and Al Edwards returning at the goal line for the Bills, and he is upended shy of the 20. Making the tackle was Johnny Bailey.
Send me in, Coach. Well, the Bills have not done much offensively. And you see there, they've only had 14 plays. Well, they brag about being on the field just a few plays and being able to put points on the board. They've been on a few plays. They had no points so far.
Only 2 first downs for Jim Kelly and company as they start from the 18-yard line. Kelly up the middle has his tight end McKellar, who makes his first reception. He held on to the ball. It is a good catch at the 30-yard line. Pickup of 12 yards. It was Lemuel Stinson and Mark Carrier. Really put a crunching hit on the fine receiving tight end Keith McKellar. Up-tempo offense, and Kelly's pass is incomplete. Mike Singletary defending, and it was intended for Don Beebe.
So far, the tempo of this game and the play in this game is Bear football. It's not the kind of football that the Bills have played this season. The Bills trying to get it back to their speed now.
James Williams, the rookie from Cheney State, has come in on defensive end as Thurman Thomas is tripped up that time. It was Richard Dent who made the play. First time we've mentioned Dent's name today, and a loss of 3.
Dent coming in from a standing position as he's allowed to, forces the play outside, and then quick enough to go outside and make the tackle.
3rd down and 13, and pressure put on Roper behind Kelly, and the pass is thrown out of bounds. It was intended for McKellar with Morrissey covering, but it was John Roper who put good pressure on Jim Kelly.
And Kelly gets up, favoring that ankle that he injured earlier in the preseason. That's going to bother him all year long. But what's bothering him right now is the fact that he's got bears hanging on him every time he goes back to throw the football.
Time of possession, 20 minutes plus for Chicago, 5.5 minutes for Buffalo, as Chris Moore will kick. Johnny Bailey deep for the Bears, and a good kick. Bailey at the 40-yard line. Changes direction. Johnny Bailey breaks a couple, and a great return by Johnny Bailey into Buffalo territory. A 20-yard return on the kick, and the tackle made by Pete Metzelaar.
Marv Levy started as a special teams coach. That will not make him happy.
Choose sides and get ready for the battles of October.
AT&T, the right choice. In 1961, Hall of Famer Ray Berry caught 75 passes. Incredibly, none went for a touchdown. The record for most catches without scoring is 85. Who holds this record? Chuck Foreman of the Vikings, William Andrews of the Falcons, or James Wilder of the Buccaneers? Which would you choose?
I don't want gimmicks. I want just a phone company I can count on.
You know, we're going to see this dramatic drop in our phone bill, and we didn't.
And it was just like a hassle figuring out both bills, both sets, and so we just said, hey, you know, we just scrapped it.
The service wasn't there, so I went to AT&T and stayed with AT&T.
And I've been happy with them ever since, and it's just been great.
Get back the service and value you deserve. Come back to AT&T now for free.
In 1984, James Wilder of the Buccaneers caught 85 passes without ever crossing the goal line. If you said Wilder, you made the right choice.
Introducing a car so intelligently engineered, its elegance and grace can be measured along these lines or graded on a curve. The 1992 Oldsmobile 88 Royale, beautifully redefined and nimble enough to prove that a straight line isn't always the best way to get from point A to point B. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Back here at Rich Stadium, Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen Return to action for Bruce Smith, the NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year.
The concern coming into this game was, can the Bills' defense stand up? Well, they certainly have, but the offense has been missing in the first part of this game.
A couple of penalties negated a couple of Bear touchdowns. Could be more than the 6-0 margin it is. 1st and 10 for the Bears on the Bills' 40. Harbaugh with a penalty marker down, completes to Anderson. And Anderson got by Leonard Smith and moves inside the 30-yard line. And a gain of 11 yards, but a flag will be called against the Bears. Bentley and Lodish made the tackle on Anderson.
Cornelius Bennett is so quick on the outside that sometimes you just can't get out there to block him.
Illegal use of the hands to the head. Number 60 offense, 10 yards, still first down.
He's had a rough day, the rookie Stan Thomas.
Rookies make mistakes. There's no question about it. They're working hard with him. He'll improve. In fact, he'll be a good one. He'll never use that as an excuse, though, that he's got a rookie out of that left tackle position. And
1st and 20, Ron Morris checks in his wide receiver, and the pass to Thornton is broken up and nearly intercepted by Bennett. Thornton, the intended receiver, and Bennett nearly had an interception.
Good linebackers have great range. From the right-hand side of your screen, watch number 97 as he reads Harbaugh's eyes and flies across right there in front of Thornton. Almost a sandwich. That was Ray Bentley behind Thornton and Cornelius in front of him.
Bennett playing today as an outside linebacker, has played inside and the middle. 2nd down and 20. 4 wide outs for the Bears. Harbaugh's been protected well thus far. Lodish is chasing him, and Harbaugh smartly goes out of bounds, chased by Henry Jones. He'll pick up 3 yards on the play.
You don't think of linebackers as being strong enough to get down and rush. Cornelius Bennett is. Watch him take Keith Van Horn right there, number 78, and drive him right back to Harbaugh, forcing Harbaugh out of the pocket. Harbaugh getting out of bounds. There's Greg Landry, offensive coordinator of the Bears.
3rd down and 17. Receivers are covered. Harbaugh throws cross field, and Ron Morris is there, and it is incomplete. He did not hold on. The ball had bounced in front. Harbaugh argues with the call, but it'll be an incompleted pass, and the Bears will have to kick. Mark Kelso was defending the wide receiver on the play.
It wouldn't surprise me to see that one reviewed. Harbaugh arguing, when you have that much time, it's very difficult to glue to those receivers downfield. Morris coming back to try and catch that football. Let's see if we can see the ground here. It looks like he did trap it. Had those hands open, smart enough to close quickly, but I believe that ball did touch the ground. Good call by the officials. That one was the best shot of the day so far on that play.
Maury Buford has come in to kick for the 4th time. Al Edwards goes back deep. And finally, the Buffalo Bills appear to call a timeout. The clock had run down to 0.
They're still going to have to kick it. They'll get an opportunity. They're hoping.
Prior to the snaps, 5 yards, still 4th down.
So a delay of the game call will move it back 5 yards.
Smart by Chicago. They're hoping that this return will take 5 seconds. So we'll go down to the 2-second warning, or 2-minute warning.
Kick by Buford, and Edwards on the 15 calls for the fair catch. So our 2-minute warning with 1:59 showing on the clock. 6-0 in favor of the Bears.
Lots of men have heard about minoxidil, and lots of men have heard about Rogaine. But lots of men don't know that only Rogaine has minoxidil, and only your doctor has Rogaine. For more information, call this number now.
If you want to get the complete story about Rogaine with minoxidil, what it does and how it does it, see your doctor or call 1-800-274-8270.
Upjohn Information Center.
That's 1-800-274-8270.
If your sporty car doesn't feel so sporty anymore, you need a change. By the team, the BF Goodrich Tire Team. They'll put on BF Goodrich T8 Performance tires. Tires designed just for your sporty car. It's a whole new level of performance. Feel the difference. See your BF Goodrich Tire Team if they don't see you first.
It's a car born of intelligent engineering. It's 100,000 ideas fused into one. It's responsive, innovative, refined. It's a driver's side airbag and anti-lock brakes. Introducing the all-new 88 Royale LS. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Coming up on the Doctor's halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores, highlights, and latest information around the league. Bears have had 2 touchdowns called back, 9 penalties in the first half, yet they are shutting out a team that has averaged 32 points a game.
Vince Tobin on the sideline with a big smile. The sweetest words defensively, 3 and out. They've been heard a lot on the Chicago defensive sideline today.
1st and 10 on the 15. Kelly operating out of the shotgun. See how his 2-minute drill goes, and it's batted down. And it was John Roper who got a hand on it. The Bears are all over the Buffalo offensive line today.
Really amazing the way the Bears have been able to destroy the continuity of that offensive line. This is a very respected offensive line. The Bears defense eating them up right now.
Kelly on 2nd down, flips it to Thurman Thomas, trying to wend his way through and does a terrific job of it. Gets a cheer from the crowd as he brings it out to the 34-yard line. A 19-yard pickup. Donnell Wolford finally brings down Thomas.
That's one of the biggest plays so far by this offense in the first half. 1:34. That's plenty of time for Kelly.
Kelly on 1st down. He's going deep to Lofton, and it's loose and is almost intercepted by Carrier. Lofton almost had it, and Carrier nearly picked it off. It'll go as an incompleted pass. 3rd down coming up.
One of the big battles on the field today between Carrier and Kelly. Carrier reading Kelly's eyes. He'll come across, but watch what Lofton does right here after that ball bounces away. Carrier has it. Lofton reaches inside and knocks it out of Carrier's hand. Heady play by James Lofton.
I said 3rd down. It is 2nd down now as Kelly threads the needle and completes the pass to the 40-yard line, and making the catch was Thurman Thomas, who came into the game as the 3rd leading receiver in the National Football League. Pick up a 5. Kelly in a real hurry-up that all clubs run at this stage.
Well, this is 2-minute offense. It's easier for them. They play this way all day long.
Under a minute, penalty marker down, and the pass to the sideline to Al Edwards. And right over Edwards was Wolford, and penalty marker down. Gain of 11 if it goes.
Sometimes it's hard to figure this game. An offense that struggles the whole first half and finally explodes with just a bit of time on the board.
Offside. Number 76 defense. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
Steve McMichael went offside, so it was a free play for Jim Kelly, and he connected, and it's a 1st down for the Bills as they get into Bears territory with 54 seconds showing on the clock. 1st down. Bills have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Kelly's pass is incomplete. Edwards was the intended receiver, and Morrissey was downfield covering him, and good pressure by McMichael.
Edwards just tripped coming back in after he made his cut. This is a new turf that had been put down just this year. It's very tacky, and sometimes the players catch their cleats. You'll see people falling because of the turf.
Tacky
tacky turf.
2nd down and 10. Kelly's pass is caught by Lofton on the run. He's got a 1st down inside the 40-yard line. Stinson makes the tackle, good for 12 yards, and the Buffalo Bills will use up one of their 3 timeouts. Rich Stadium is turned up a notch.
The RCA projection screen is so big, you'll feel like part of the show when you watch the RCA home theater. It also has Dolby surround sound that's so real,
stand back, everyone.
You'll forget you're sitting at home.
Let me handle this.
The RCA home theater also has Pix in Pix. It lets you watch 2 things at once, in color. Another way RCA is changing entertainment again.
Tickets also available.
Later today, the 2nd half of our CBS doubleheader, the 49ers and the Raiders, both 2-2.
Jay Schrader already looking for Mark Lee, a little used defensive back who'll start at corner today for San Francisco. They have really had trouble in their defensive secondary.
So here are the Bills who have been shut out thus far. 2 timeouts remaining. They're on the 38 of Chicago, 1st down. Kelly's pass is caught. Andre Reed with Magnum, the extra back, another 1st down, and that will stop the clock with 38 seconds remaining, a pickup of 11, and all of a sudden the Bills offense looks like they've looked last year and early this season.
Hard to figure what can happen. Is this the same quarterback, the same offensive line? Well, they've got it going now. What they need to do is finish off this drive with a touchdown.
1st down, Bears lead 6-0, and Kelly will go down, and John Roper will pick up the sack. The 3rd sack of the game by the Bears, and a loss that time of 8 yards stems that drive.
Howard Ballard is 340 pounds, 6'6", and a very good pass blocker, but the Bears have been getting around him all day today.
2nd down and 18, and Thurman Thomas tests the middle of the line. Curious play. The Bills are going to have to call a timeout as Thomas is signaling that someone pulled his face mask. Kelly limping.
You see him limping on that ankle, and Steve McMichael, such a huge play last week as he stripped the ball from Blair Thomas. Watch him try and duplicate that. The arm goes in right there as he reaches in to try and take that ball out of Thurman Thomas's hands. Tried from the other side, now he gets back on this side and tries to strip that ball away. Look at that. Now that is a wrestling match. Ooh, I think maybe he got that ball, but I think the whistle had already blown as the forward progress had been stopped.
I think McMichael likes to strip the ball away from enemy running backs.
This Bear team, good defenses go after that football, and that's what these Bears do constantly. Dick, this game reminds me a little bit of another game I covered in '88. The Buffalo Bills were 4-0, feeling good about themselves. They went into Chicago, and they did not fare well. They were beaten 24-3 and embarrassed. They said it would be different today. Well, they better get their stuff together and get going, or it won't be.
3rd down and 16, and Kelly going for the downs. Touchdown to Al Edwards. Had not caught a pass coming into this game. He has caught 2 today. This one a 33-yard touchdown strike to tie the game at 6 with 12 seconds remaining in the 1st half. First NFL touchdown catch by Al Edwards. Scott Norwood gives the Bills the lead.
To throw this football. Able to step up away from Richard Dent's diving grasp. And right there, Wolford a couple of steps late. Watch to the outside here. It's the outside receiver that that just runs right by Donnell Wolford, and Al Edwards just with a post pattern to the inside for that big touchdown.
He was picked on the 11th round. Not too many 11th round picks make it, but Al Edwards did, out of Northwest Louisiana State. Northwestern Louisiana State beat Wolford. So it shows you how explosive the Buffalo Bills offense can be after being stymied throughout all of the first half till the final minute.
And how much difference can one play make in a game? Look at that scoreboard.
This year, the Buffalo Bills have earned $12,700 for Western New York charities.
Jim Kelly's 12th touchdown pass of the year. He leads the league.
For Western New York charities.
So here are the Bears with possession time, dominance, and it took the Bills only 1 minute and 47 seconds to take the lead.
Season's total to 13.
Johnny Brown needed something to cheer about, Dick, and they finally got it.
New York charities.
Hard to tell sometimes why an offense can't get things going. Little breakdowns, but you saw the offensive lineman on the sideline talking things over. A veteran offensive line very often can make adjustments on the field, but that will allow for a little extra time for Jim Kelly. And sometimes that's all Kelly needs.
Ordinarily, Brad DeLuiso kicks off for the Bills, but Scott Norwood is in there right now. He'll have the ball held for him.
Just a puncher.
Maybe that's why. Picked up by James Rouse.
Taken by James Rouse. It'll be first and 10 Chicago at their own 29.
He's got to be pleased. Bruce Smith has played all the defense in this first half, and there has been a bunch of it as Chicago has had their offense on the field almost all day. And finally, a wake-up call for the offense on the Buffalo sideline.
7-6 the score, and it's the score. If you had told Mike Ditka you'll be trailing by a 7-6 score at halftime, he'll say, I'll take that. Rather have it the other way, but it's the low-scoring game.
This is Bear football. It's not Bills football right now.
First down on the 29 with just a handful of seconds remaining in the first half. Harbaugh not trying anything fancy. Flips it out to Anderson, who goes out of bounds, and they'll get one more play off. Gain of 5.
You might just see him kneel on it on this play. This is not the kind of situation that you really have much to gain in.
Both teams undefeated, but both teams have been struggling. Bills coming from behind the last 2 weeks against the Jets and the Buccaneers, and the Bears playing only close games. Their 6-point win against the Jets in overtime was their largest margin of the year.
A lot of people pointing at the stats and saying they're not doing this well, they're not doing that well. Those people are not 4-0 generally. These teams are 4-0. They've found a way to win.
Last play, barring a penalty of the first half, and the pass is caught by Neil Anderson as time runs out. And that's the end of the first half here at Rich Stadium with the score. The Buffalo Bills 7 and the Chicago Bears 6.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. The Upjohn Company, if you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor. And by B.F. Goodrich TA Tires, the most exciting change you can make to your car.
If we're going to build a strong, competitive economy for our nation's future, where will tomorrow's skilled workers come from? I'm Mark Kelso of the Buffalo Bills, and I've got an answer that's working right here in Buffalo. It's the new employment training program spearheaded by the United Way with support from the community. Here they're learning woodworking. In here they're learning fashion design and cutting out a career for their future.
Someday you'll want my fashion designs. Thanks for the chance.
Here it's auto mechanics, and it's working. You got it right on the money. The United Way gives career counseling. The corporations provide the training and job opportunities. This is Jennifer, and she's learning computer skills.
Someday I'm going to do your computerized bookkeeping. Thanks for the chance.
Vocational and academic skills are developed so the student can function independently and succeed in life. Together with these people and programs, we're solving our problems. and we can celebrate their success and a better future for all of us. Because the United Way, it brings out the best in all of us. Right, guys? Right!
This message furnished by the National Football League.
The best prices on tires. Service that's... because stocking the best selection of tires can't be. The top names in tires. Disposal of your trade-ins. Tire rotation. Lifetime flat repairs. Installation. All free. Check our ad in Thursdays and Sunday sports section in your local newspaper. Done Tire. There's a location near you. Stop in for a done deal.
Pizza Hut pepperoni, prepare to get picked on.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
Because now you can get a pepperoni lover's pizza at a very pickable price. Get one for $8.99 or two for just $4 more. With two prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between two heaping portions of cheese, who can resist picking?
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
Play the Winning Smiles contest at Pizza Hut and watch Candid Camera 7:30 weeknights on Channel 4.
Picture this. He comes crashing through my garden like some flipped-out Boy Scout with a canoe on his back and says, "Get ready for the General Tire Great Outdoors Sale." I say, a great deal on a great tire, and sooner or later, everybody will own Generals. Off the tulips, Klutz.
General Tire Sale at all Broad Elm Precision Tire and Service Centers. Now until October 15th.
He needs a long vacation alone.
The NFL Today Dockers Halftime Report is sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Those of you watching Chicago and Buffalo, welcome back to our studios in New York, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. This is a 7-6 game at halftime, and it was the Bears leading it by a score of 6-0 until the final 12 seconds of the first half. That's when Jim Kelly hit Al Edwards.
Oh, that's a beautiful job by Jim. He looked to the left, froze the safety, got him out of there, and then Edwards was man for man, had two steps, and when you got the best quarterback right now in the National Football League throwing to you, you expect to get the touchdown.
Pretty good defensive battle, and keep in mind the Bears have had 2 touchdowns called back because of penalties, 7-6 Buffalo at halftime. They're also at halftime at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the Lions, looking to go 4-1 on the year, are leading the Tampa Bay Bucks by a score of 21-3. Vinny Testaverde, boy, Herb Cross was asking, should he be back in the game? Meanwhile, Barry Sanders is in the game.
Lions don't need him. They've got Sanders, and he's doing a fine job. Good job of running. Got outside. Now look at this throw. Feet up. Got rid of the ball quickly. Laid it right over the outstretched hands of Green, and he makes a beautiful catch for the touchdown.
How about Chris Chandler in the lineup for the Bucks?
Hasn't done much. You know, they're always benching Vinny, but Chandler hasn't done much, and even with the toe, I would put Vinny back in there. I wouldn't have pulled him out in the first place, but I don't run that show down there.
No, not yet, anyway. Meanwhile, a halftime in Atlanta where the Falcons are trailing the New Orleans Saints by a score of 10-6, and Morton Anderson had them on the board early, and then Bobby Hebert to Floyd Turner.
You know, this is just a great effort by Turner. It's man-for-man coverage, a blitz by the Falcons, and look who got a free ride. Our man Dion got them tired legs from running those bases, Greg.
Probably wasn't as nice as a helicopter ride. 10-6, Saints leading the Atlanta Falcons at halftime, and the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants are in the third quarter now. The Cowboys are leading the Giants by a score of 14-3. Take it away, Terry.
Yeah, Horton, look at this. Makes the stop, knocks the ball loose, picks it up, rambles 21 ferocious yards, and then that puts the Cowboys up, what, 14-3, 13-3?
14-3 now at the extra point. This is the doubleheader day here on CBS. Coming up in our late games, some of you will see the Rams hosting the Packers or the Raiders at home against the 49ers, and that means former 49er superstars Roger Craig and Ronnie Lott meet their old teammates for the first time in regular season play. Craig will start at running back for the Raiders with a bruised shoulder. Lott will be dishing out his usual punishment at safety, but as he told our Jim Gray, it's not easy to hurt the ones you love.
Is it hard not to think about the other guys?
They're my buddies. I mean, and I think that the thing about sports is this, is that sports it gives you a chance to have allegiance with a certain group of people, but yet we always got to remember that it is a human element there, and that human element is the fact that I care about the Montanas, the Haleys, the Don Griffins, and so many of the guys on the team because they're friends. They're lifelong friends.
One Major League Baseball note, the Minnesota Twins looking to clinch the American League West at Toronto. They're trailing the Jays 2-0 in the fourth inning. And the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station.
There
mission was successfully completed, but the danger had just begun. 1,100 men lost at sea.
Get everyone out of the water now!
No one could hear their cries for help but the sharks. Based on the true story. God help them. Stacy Keach, Richard Thomas, Mission of the Shark, tonight.
If you can't stand the heat,
How hot and wet do you like it?
get out of the kitchen. Leslie Nielsen, The Naked Gun, Tuesday.
This is CBS.
Every beer in the world tries to measure up to German beer. Every German beer tries to measure up to Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
Midas gives you a free inspection of your exhaust system and then a guaranteed estimate. When we give you a price, you can believe it. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
A hair-raising stunt show has these tourists on the edge of their seat on the next Candid Camera.
7:30 Monday on Channel 4.
Americans are getting back to simple, basic values. Friends and families and neighborhoods are important. At Key Bank, those are the values we've had all along. We've always believed in giving people their money's worth, and we still help one person at a time, one neighborhood at a time. All of which helps us do a better job in the most important neighborhood of all. Yours, Key Bank, America's neighborhood bank.
Everything the Germans know about brewing beer can be summed up in one word. Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin O'Connell.
And I'm Jackie Walker. We hope you'll join us tomorrow on Western New York's newest newscast, News 4 Buffalo at 5.
It's our commitment here at Channel 4 to listen to you, our viewers, and to further our coverage of Western New York.
And we hope you'll join us tomorrow on News 4 Buffalo at 5.
Inside Money, Marriage, and Murder. Watch Inside Edition.
The London stage.
Here at Rich Stadium, time of possession dominated by the Bears, but 2 Chicago touchdowns called back because of penalties, and a tight game between 2 undefeated teams. At halftime here at Rich Stadium, the score, the Buffalo Bills 7 and the Chicago Bears 6. And we'll be back for the second half in just a moment.
All right, Angela, stretch up, arch your back.
I remember the very first time I fell. I didn't want to ride again. But after Grandpa picked me up and put me back on, I knew I had to try.
At AT&T, we know every great athlete has been inspired by someone. As a proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team, we salute them all.
After all these years, Grandpa's still there to pick me up.
When what you eat and drink upsets your stomach, you want a medicine that works directly on your stomach itself. Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, Pepto delivers powerful medicine directly to your stomach, right where you hurt. It's powerful relief. Pepto-Bismol. It's real medicine for your stomach.
The Allstate agent who helps insure your car can give you a hand with a plan for life insurance. Life insurance. Your Allstate agent wants to be your agent for life. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Over its life, a Motorcraft battery delivers enough energy to light up a small park, like Candlestick Park. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Trying her for murder would be easy if she were only one person. What do you mean, if she were only one person? Tune in tonight and find out.
How to seduce a woman.
You're a knockout. I don't mean just pretty, no, beautiful. The lips, the mouth, the eyes. If men aren't attracted to you, it's totally because of your abrasive personality. Thank you.
How to seduce a man.
Flashman, I'm a grown woman. I am not some cow in heat waiting to get poked by the lankiest bull in the pasture.
All new Northern Exposure Monday.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? United Airlines, come fly the airline that spans more than half the world. And by Ford Motorcraft Quality Parts.
here at Rich Stadium. The score, the Buffalo Bills 7 and the Chicago Bears 6. Both teams undefeated coming in, but this is a Bears kind of game. 7-6 right now, and it's been a game controlled by the Chicago Bears. Time of possession in their defense, even though the Bills scored the touchdown to take the lead late.
This is the Bear formula. Play tough defense, control the football with the running game, and so far they have kept this big crowd very quiet, except for that one drive by the Buffalo Bills.
Well, you know, it seems that Steve McMichael does something big every game and epitomizes the big play aspect of the Chicago Bears defense. Let's go to the opening game of the season, Minnesota-Chicago. There he is, circled, Steve McMichael, as he puts the big pressure on Wade Wilson, deflects the ball, and Marcus Paul made an interception. So he's all over the place. But that wasn't the only game that McMichael made his presence felt. Against Tampa Bay, Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback, and down he goes, thanks to Steve McMichael. And of course, as everyone knows, Monday night, the big play, perhaps of the Bears season, as McMichael stripped the ball away from Blair Thomas, causing the turnover that allowed the Bears to come back and tie and eventually win in overtime. And he has continued to make the big plays in today as well, Merlin.
Let's go back and take a look at one of those spectacular plays. On the left side of your screen, you see McMichael coming in. He tries to strip the ball, misses it, goes all the way around. Watch him reach in here, get a hold of the football, and even though the whistle had blown, he strips the football from Thurman Thomas. Now that's the kind of determined play that has always marked the Bears. You've got to love this Bear defense. They have really owned this first half. They did lose it in that last series, but believe me, back in the locker room, they're saying, hey, let's go back out there and shut down those high-flying Bills.
Isn't it interesting that the no-huddle, hurry-up offense doesn't really work, fizzles throughout the first half for the Bills, and then when they get into the 2-minute drill, then they move the ball.
Well, we've always known that they were explosive. They certainly proved that in this first half. But, boy, they have not been able to put up a lot of points. And as we mentioned earlier, this is a formula that the Bears like. They like low-scoring games. And they're in one right now. They want to keep it that way if they can.
Now, Harbaugh, in the first half, completed 11 of 19 for 129 yards. Anderson rushed for 40 and caught 5 passes as well. Do you see anything different from the Bears' offense side? They only scored 6 on 2 field goals.
They came into this game very concerned about being able to run the football. Muster is out, their fine fullback. They were worried about the tight ends both being injured. They prepared a 4-wide receiver offense and were prepared to hurry up if they had to. They have not had to do this. Their running game has gone well. They've gotten good production from the tight ends, and they've gotten good production from James Rouse in place of Muster.
Kevin Butler will kick off. Eddie Fuller and Al Edwards back deep for the Bills, and it's going to be Fuller returning for Buffalo. He's knocked back, still trying to find some room. A penalty marker is down. And Mike Stonebreaker making the tackle at the 17-yard line. The Bears were heavily penalized in the first half of this game. They had 2 touchdowns called back, and there were 10 penalties against them for 69 yards.
In this last offseason, we'll let the officials make their call here, and then we'll talk about this Bills offense.
Tom White.
Holding, number 99, during the return, half the distance, first down.
That was the fullback Carwell Gardner, who hasn't played in the game yet.
In this last offseason, the Bills took their whole offensive playbook and coded it so that Kelly could stand on the line and call his plays with quick code words and numbers, which he has done throughout the game. They will still huddle as they did on that last play.
That was Hal Garner and not Gardner. Garner guilty, so it's first down. And Thurman Thomas on the running play. Good fake that time by Kelly as he rams it out beyond the 20. And a first down. They started from the 9 and got out of trouble. Lemuel Stinson. A good block that time by the wide receiver Andre Reed.
You come into a game against the Bills, you look for number 34. You've got to take him out of the plan. The Bears able to do that in the first half, but he comes out firing here in the second half.
Thurman Munson. Tried Thurman Thomas. Picks up 9 yards. 3 times is a charm. They had only 27 yards at the half. Now has 48 yards.
That That shouldn't be a surprise to people who follow Thurman Thomas's career. He came in leading the league with 657 yards. Oh, what a move.
Thomas again. There's no doubt what the Buffalo strategy is offensively coming out here in the third quarter. A gain of 19 yards. Thurman Thomas and Sean Gale making the tackle.
I'm sure people are wondering what happened in Buffalo's locker room. I don't think that's the difference here. I think what's happened is they've said, look, let's play the kind of football we're capable of. They're doing it with their running game right now.
First down, just shy of midfield. This time it's Kenneth Davis who gives Thomas a rest. And Davis, experienced backup, picks up several yards.
Marv Levy is not a highly emotional coach, but he has a very organized approach to this game. I think all he had to do is say, look, we're a better football team offensively than we showed in the first half. Let's go out and establish ourselves. The best way to do that is with the running game. That's what they're doing right now.
First down on the Bears' 41-yard line. Kelly's pass, and that's caught. And Andre Reed, and a gain of 7 yards that time. They are much crisper and getting off the plays a lot faster here.
The Bears understand this formula. First down passing after you successfully run the football. It's open back there, and Kelly took advantage of it.
Gain of 7. This is really an up-tempo offense, the best we've seen today by the Bills. Second down and 3, Kenneth Davis. Just a couple. That'll slow the pace a bit.
Watch the digit. Watch Kelly now. He'll call a couple of numbers. He'll give formation with those numbers. He'll give snap count and play. Just that quickly, he's got everything in.
Third down and 2. Did not get a good snap, but Keith McKellar, the tight end, is wide open. He's got it on a first down inside the 20-yard line and a gain of 14 yards, and the Bills are rolling.
One of the things that makes this Bills offense hard to handle is the fact that McKellar, a fine tight end and a great blocker, has the speed of many wide receivers, and he has the ability to get away from those defenders.
They call him a wide receiver in a tight end's body, and that's what he is. Another pass to McKellar. Mark Carrier brings him down on the 6-yard line with Wolford's help. And it looks like the Bears defense can't keep up with the offense of the Buffalo Bills here in the second half.
Look at that. The first 5 drives, they got a total of 38 yards. In the last 2, they're finally exploding. And this crowd is saying, yeah, this is our offensive team.
That's exactly what they're saying. Driving to the goal line. Thurman Thomas short by less than a yard. This is done in a hurry. They scored the go-ahead touchdown in 1 minute and 47 seconds at the end of the first half and have come out big time here.
Much of this yardage they have gained right up the gut against this Bear defense. Little huddle down here in short yardage.
3 tight ends, Metzelaars and Butch Roll, join McKellar, and the handoff. Is he over? Carwell Gardner, no signal yet.
They love to run in behind that right side of that offensive line, in behind the 345-pound Howard Ballard and John Davis at 310 pounds. But they're doing a good job. The fridge has moved over. He's switched positions. He's staring right into their faces, and I think it might have been his penetration that helped to stop that last play.
The head went over the line, but not the ball.
He and McMichael again on opposite sides to what they would normally do.
3rd and goal, the 11th play of the drive, and on a keeper, Kelly, does he make it? No, he does not make it. It'll be 4th down, and it was Mike Singletary with the clutch play preventing Kelly from going in.
Not the kind of play you would expect. Kelly, ordinarily an immobile type quarterback, wants to stay in the pocket. This would be a fooler. That's an option. He had the option of throwing the ball out. Did not pitch it because there was nobody out there to throw it to. Tries to get back inside, but does not fool Mike Singletary.
The knees were down before the ball crossed the plane, so 4th and goal coming up.
Butch Roll into block in the backfield.
think they held him. Let's see if on the second effort they score. The Bills feel they're in there. There might have been a fumble. Carwell Gardner, the fullback, went in. We have not seen a touchdown signal, and we may not. I believe the Bears have held it.
The play appeared to be stopped. The ball bounced loose and was recovered by the Bills in the end zone. Let's let these officials sort it out. We may have had a whistle before that ball popped loose. Let's go back and look at that play as Butch Roll dives in. Jim Morrissey there, and there's no question about it. The ball is loose, and Carwell Gardner was not anywhere near, but he does recover his own fumble. And he is allowed to recover his own fumble.
Fumbling player in the end zone. Therefore, it is a touchdown.
Since he recovered his own fumble, it is a touchdown.
Anyone else recovers that fumble, the ball goes over to Chicago. But the man who makes the fumble can recover the fumble. A tremendous play. The Bears strip the football, but Carwell Gardner sees the football and dives on it and pulls it back away from two defenders. Again, McMichael there trying to steal that football from Gardner.
Scott Norwood is on the field to try the extra point. The Bears had held the Bills until 4th and goal.
Therefore, the recovery is legal.
And a very alert play indeed by Carwell Gardner. It is now 13-6 in favor of Buffalo. A very impressive first possession of the second half for the Bills.
But also a very impressive goal line stand by this Bear defense.
And apparently they are reviewing it upstairs. Ball was jarred loose on the 1-foot line.
A rather stoic Mike Ditka on the sideline. This first half, or this first drive of the second half, not opening as he had hoped to see his team open here in this second half.
Touchdown.
Gardner, it is his third touchdown of the season, and Norwood is aboard with Frank Reich holding. Six minutes and 5 seconds gone by here in the third quarter. And a whistle. Penalty markers down.
Another low kick by Norwood.
There's a flag down.
I think even though it was touched, it went through the uprights.
If the penalty's against the Bears, it will be declined to kick good, but Norwood remains on the field.
False start, number 69, prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty.
Prior to the snap, there is no kick in that situation with a false start.
Will Wolford, and that'll move the attempt for the extra point back 5 yards. So in essence, this will be the same as a 25-yard field goal for Norwood. And the kick is perfect. So it took a while, but the Bills got it done. Gardner with the touchdown, and it's 14-6 Buffalo.
How do you improve a design like Ford Taurus? With no negatives, you simply accentuate the positives. Aerodynamic design becomes slipperier. Instrumentation and controls become handier. An inviting interior becomes friendlier. And in the end, the most award-winning car in its class becomes even classier. The new Ford Taurus. Have you ever wished the good things in life could get even better? Have you driven a Ford lately?
They came to this country from everywhere else. And now, the airline that's uniting the world is ready to take you back. United, the airline whose service made it #1 across the Pacific, takes you across the Atlantic to cities throughout Europe, including service to London's Heathrow. United to Europe. Come see what we're made of. Come fly the friendly skies.
In the closest of all the pennant races, the Dodgers with a 1-game lead over the Braves in the National League West coming into this afternoon's play. In the second inning, no score in Houston, the Braves and the Astros. And next Saturday, CBS Sports will cover the pennant races. The games to be determined by the races themselves. Baseball 91 will start it off on Saturday, 2:30 Eastern. Then the Battle of October begins next Tuesday, October 8th, with Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. And stay with CBS throughout coverage of the League Championship Series and the World Series exclusively on CBS. Mike Ditka tight-lipped on the sidelines as Brad Deloiso prepares to kick off for the Buffalo Bills. Johnny Bailey and Mark Green are back deep, and this kick will sail way out of the end zone. And the Bears will begin from the 20. We have had a playoff-style game here between two undefeated teams at 4-0. Sold-out Rich Stadium. The Bears are a big attraction here, despite the fact that they're from the NFC. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen. Chicago had 2 touchdowns called back because of penalties. But it looks like the Bills' offense is starting to get revved up, Merlin.
Well, the Bears defense able to shut them down, and usually able to do it with 3 plays in the early part of this ball game. The Bears were also able to control the ball with the run, but things have changed in the last 2 offensive series for the Bills.
Neil Anderson lined up to the bottom of your picture as a receiver on first down on the 20, and a good rush, and the pass is incomplete. Anderson was the intended receiver, but Buffalo put a good charge on Harbaugh.
Shane Conlon, inside linebacker, right here is going to blitz after Harbaugh, and watch the kind of heat he puts on. Beautiful job of judging the snap count. Harbaugh had no choice, simply had to throw that football away.
Second down and 10. This time Waddle goes to the top. Wendell Davis, the other wide receiver. Neil Anderson. He's trapped, and he's down, and that was Kirby Jackson. Playing for the injured J.D. Williams and a loss of 11 yards.
Sometimes the name of the game is second effort. Watch number 47 come in from the left side. He's going to miss the tackle right there. He gets back up on his feet, and now he's going to make the tackle. A very fine play by Kirby Jackson. Sometimes when your offense catches fire, you light a fire under the defense as well. That seems to have happened for the Bills.
Third down and 21, 4 wide receivers for the Bears. Harbaugh gets pressure again, throws it in the air to Waddle, but he's out of bounds. And that will bring up 4th down. And the best defensive effort for the Bills this afternoon.
Allen, who else? Number 78 in his first ball game back. Number 78, Bruce Smith, all over Harbaugh to make him throw that pass away.
Maury Buford will have to kick from midway through his end zone. Al Edwards, who caught a touchdown pass for the Bills, is deep, already in Bears territory. A low kick. And it takes a Buffalo hop. And the Bills, who looked impressive on their first drive of the second half, will have outstanding field position for their second. That was a 26-yard kick. And when we return, it'll be Buffalo ball on the Bears 35.
Ford Trucks, the best ever is. Ford Trucks.
Look,
We already make the world's best-selling trucks. But we made our 92 Ford full-size pickup even better with a new design, new interior, new instrument panel, new available power lumbar seats. But there's one thing that'll never change. It's still built Ford tough.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
It took all day, but they finally came up with one very big idea. What do you bet they printed on a laser jet from Hewlett-Packard?
In making an artistic statement, one's personal aroma shouldn't do the talking. So I use Right Guard Sport Stick with maximum protection. A true artiste should be known for inspiration, not perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol, the only leading motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. After all, why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
I've seen 15 to 20 men taken by sharks, and I'll never forget it.
Based on the true story.
The nightmares never go away.
Mission of the Shark, tonight.
There is no single formula for winning in the NFL. Each team has to find its own way of doing things. 4-0 teams. Look at the difference in the run and pass percentages.
Bears have been even. The Bills have gone through the air primarily. They start on the ground with Thurman Thomas, and he gets ahead of steam, and Thomas gets it close to the first down to the 25-yard line. Sean Gale making the tackle. It is a Buffalo first down.
The key is to take advantage of your personnel, to let them do what they do best. The Bills taking advantage of that right now, and it's the run game, not the pass game, that has lit the fire here in the second half so far.
Whoa, this time Thomas will lose yardage. Richard Dent comes storming in. And a loss of just a yard.
The formula doesn't change on defense. When the offense gets moving, you've got to make a big play. Number 95, Richard Dent, quickly to the outside. One-hand tackle on Thurman Thomas, takes him to the ground. Jim Richard trying to get him down, could not do it.
Second down and 11 out of the shotgun. Jim Kelly's pass to Lofton. He's caught it. And it's going to be another first down for the Buffalo Bills. He just made the sticks, a gain of 12.
There's a little feeling of basketball on this game, Dick. You want to make the other team play to your tempo. In the first half, the Bears were able to do that. They were able to slow things down. Here in the second half, it's Bills' tempo.
First down on the 14-yard line of the Bears. Thurman Thomas with a stutter step goes up the middle. Looked like he was trapped and instead went straight ahead, and a gain that time of 5.
Great running backs have incredible vision, and if they're lucky, they have the kind of burst that Thurman Thomas has to hit the hole when it opens. Thomas just absolutely incredible at flashing through those holes while they're open.
Here comes the up-tempo, and we'll have penalty marker down. Everyone seemed to be moving on second down and 5, and Tom White, the referee, will sort it out.
The entire offensive line.
And it was everybody moving, the entire offensive line that time.
Sometimes that's on the center. He misses the snap count and everyone else is moving. I'm surprised that the Bills don't have more of those kinds of penalties. It takes incredible concentration in this kind of an offense to keep it going without penalties.
Especially since they don't practice it much during the week.
That's right. They practice out of the huddle during the week.
Second down and 10.
Whoa.
And Thomas gets hit immediately, and it was Mark Carrier. It was a safety blitz that the Bears had. And the two men head on, Thurman Thomas and Carrier, and a loss on the play of 4 yards. Line up in a hurry. It'll be third down and 14. Kelly's pass is caught by Thomas inside the 5-yard line and out of bounds. Another Buffalo first down, and Thomas has been almost a one-man gang here in the second half, tackled by Mangum and Stinson.
Reminiscent of the leap by Anderson in that game against the Giants as he picked up the touchdown that was the key play there. Thomas took that football down the edge and dove and got the extra yardage for the first down.
And now they bring in their jumbo unit as Thomas comes out of the game. Carwell Gardner at fullback. Metzelar's in Butch Roll. And Kenneth Davis is in at running back as well. So they've got the big people now.
The fridge again is lined up on the Bills' right. Let's see if they go back to the left this time.
First and goal on the 2-yard line. And there's a fake and a pass and a touchdown to guess who? Butch Roll. He seems to only catch touchdown passes. Call him 6-point roll.
His last 10 catches have been made for touchdowns. Is that what you call making them count? And 10 of 14 career receptions have been touchdowns.
It is now 20-6. Scott Norwood looking to add the 21st point, and he does. What an explosion by the Buffalo Bills. 3 touchdowns in the last 10.5 minutes.
Good play-action fake. Kenneth Davis diving over the top. And Kelly loops it over Mark Carrier, and Roll has his touchdown.
She doesn't want to go back to work for a while. She likes staying home with the baby.
How old's the baby now?
She's 2 months old tomorrow. I swear she's a genius.
No catchy jingles.
Look.
No images of snow-capped mountains.
She got lucky, I guess.
No rock stars.
Another Heineken?
Yeah.
No sports stars.
You know, I've been getting about
None of that is what made Heineken the #1 imported beer in America.
So you like being a dad?
I wouldn't trade it for anything. You gotta try it.
You sound just like my in-laws.
Who brung the hockey player? Let's go.
Women who are with me even once never get over it.
Joe Pesci.
If you think I look stupid, just say so.
The Super. Go see it. Rated R. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
As usual, my brother found a way to get me in trouble. And by the time I got out, our bus was gone. And so was he. That's when I started running. Because no way was I going to let him beat me home.
At AT&T, we know every great athlete has been inspired by someone. As a proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team, we salute them all.
My brother, he still gets a kick out of seeing me run.
Live from Nashville, join Garth Brooks, Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, The Judds, Barbara Mandrell, and more. Reba McEntire hosts the Country Music Awards Wednesday.
Well, not many people know about a third tight end on any team, but Butch Roll has made his presence felt offensively, and now you see him on special teams as Deloiso gets set to kick off, and the wind blows the ball off the tee.
It's been all day. You can't ignore the talents of a guy like Butch Roll. Mark Carrier just sucked in on that last play, and Roll is on a roll. Well, I'll tell you, those are impressive numbers.
Bills scored with 12 seconds left in the first half, and each of the first 2 series of the second half. Now leading 21-6. Kickoff going into the end zone, and it's going to be down by Mark Green. So it'll be the Bears from the 20.
Butch Roll right here is just going to take out. It's not really a good fake, and Carrier is so intent on the play action that he's a step and a half late. Not a good play by Mark Carrier, who's usually more alert to the receivers than that. Well, you deserve to take a bow.
You know, people will say, why don't they just really focus on this guy when you get down to the goal line, but how could you ignore the big people going up the middle?
Well, and certainly the thing that really sold that play was the faking by Kelly and Kenneth Davis diving over the top.
Ron Mattis has replaced rookie Stan Thomas, who has struggled today. New left tackle number 75. First and 10 on the 20 for the Bears. And there is the pressure on Harbaugh, and the pass is knocked away from Neil Anderson. He was the intended receiver, but coming in was Shane Conlon, unmolested on Harbaugh.
Conlon blitzing inside to get to Harbaugh. Harbaugh was able to have time early in this ball game. This Bills defense has really stiffened here in the second half. Watch number 58 again, timing it perfectly. No one even touched him, and Harbaugh's got to say, look, guys, give me a chance anyway.
They rush 4 on Harbaugh, and on second down, Waddle, the intended receiver, and once again, he is out of bounds. Henry Jones defending, and right now, for an update, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Dick, just as the Bills are looking to go 5-0 on the year, so are the Saints at Atlanta. Bobby Hebert, a second touchdown pass of the day to Floyd Turner, 17 yards, and with the point after, the unbeaten Saints are leading Atlanta 17-6. Dick?
Greg, and apparently he did get in bounds. It may have been pushed out of bounds. They're going to count it as a first down, Merlin.
The question was, did he bobble the football? Now watch him right there. He's got to have both feet in bounds, and he's got to control the football.
Well, you know they're going to review this one.
His foot is on the line. They will review this one.
They're going to review it. They have ruled that it is a catch, that both feet are in bounds. It looks from here as if his right foot is not in bounds, and that's why they're looking at it. Tom Waddle, who caught 8 passes for 102 yards and became a celebrity with his Monday night play against the Jets, and if that still goes, it'll be his first catch of this game.
Mike Ditka
is a completion.
Mike Ditka said very simply, if I were a quarterback, I'd want to know who had the best hands on my team. He said Tom Waddle has the best hands of anybody on our team. The other thing that's interesting about Waddle, he's been cut by the Bears 7 times in the last 2 years. Now, with his performance on Monday night and so far in the season, that has to be a little embarrassing to the Bears, but even more embarrassing to the 27 other teams that didn't pick Waddle up. You can see the feet clearly on the line on that, or the right foot anyway, clearly on the line.
They're going to reverse it. It'll be an incompleted pass. Replay lives.
You might ask another question. How does a guy survive being cut 7 times?
It's now 3rd down and 10.
Tom Waddle said he couldn't have done it without his wife, Kara, daughter of Gino Capoletti, Boston Patriots. She knows about football.
Well, he's still looking for his first catch of the day, though. 3rd down and 10. Harbaugh's pass intended for Wendell Davis, and a good hard defensive hit by Leonard Smith, who timed it perfectly. Harbaugh's last 5 passes have been incomplete, and that will bring up 4th down.
But again, Harbaugh wearing number 54, Carlton Bailey. They're shooting those inside linebackers, and they're really nailing Harbaugh.
Maury Buford will kick from the 5, and Al Edwards is deep for the Buffalo Bills. Somebody pressed a button to turn on the Buffalo Bills game. Fair catch called by Edwards, and the Bills will gladly take the ball on their own 44-yard line. And Marv Levy's club is going all guns right now.
Choose sides and get ready for the battles of October.
Ford Trucks, the best never is. Ford Trucks.
The truck market keeps changing, and so do we. This year, we're introducing more new ideas than any other truck company. A newly designed Ford full-size pickup with a new interior, new available power lumbar seats, new instrument panel. And coming soon, the new Ford Flairside. We're also introducing all new full-size vans, including the Chateau. Aerostar has a new interior, new driver airbag, new column shift. In fact, only Ford has airbags in both its mini and full-size vans. And don't forget our phenomenal new success story, Explorer. Now, the word truck has been redefined. Who redefined it? Ford.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
To keep your competitive edge, you can phone it there, fax it there, even beam it there. But there's nothing like being there. With US Air and the American Express card, you get a winning combination. The airline that begins with you and the card dedicated to providing unparalleled customer service. US Air and the American Express card. Keep your competitive edge.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
When you really notice is like an 8th or 9th play of a drive, if we last that long on the field, that's when you can really tell a defense line starts getting tired. Our guys do to a certain point, but we know when it's a run and we know it's a pass.
Forcing a team to play in an uncomfortable kind of tempo also makes them worry a lot. And I think it's that worrying that burns off a lot of energy for the defenses.
1st and 10 for the Bills on their 44-yard line. Kelly's completed his last 9 passes, 2 of them for touchdowns. Thurman Thomas gets tripped up after a couple, and John Roper was right there.
Roper just threw a lasso around the ankle of Thurman Thomas, just got enough to trip him up on that last play. The Bears need to have a big series here defensively. They're not a come-from-behind team, not when they're down this far.
Chris Zorich, rookie from Notre Dame, is in the game as the pass is caught by Beebe. Wolford is all over him. Gain of 7. That will bring up 3rd down and 3.
Even though Harbaugh is a better passer than he was last year or the year before, this Bear team has always had trouble coming from behind at a big deficit. They need to get something going defensively here.
3rd down and 3, 10 consecutive passes caught. And that breaks right there as that pass is batted down by Richard Dent. And that will lead to 4th down, and the Bills will have to kick. So Dent at least breaks the momentum that the Bills offense has had exclusively in this 3rd quarter.
And we talked about big plays, a couple of them right there. Richard Dent always seems to have a knack for this. They stop him at the line. Will Wolford makes a great play, but Dent simply goes up in the air and slaps that ball back at Kelly.
Chris Moore getting set for his 5th punt of the afternoon. Johnny Bailey is deep. Called for the fair catch at the 14-yard line. A 35-yard kick, and the Bears will try to do something now, trailing 21-6. But we want to remind you that coming up, second half of our NFL doubleheader on CBS, the 49ers and the Raiders. Because the Niners see that the Saints could be 5-0, and the Raiders want to stay in the race in the AFC West.
And there are still memories of that San Francisco-Oakland rivalry that existed so long ago. Still a feeling for that.
Roger Craig and Ronnie Lott in the silver and black against the Cardinal and gold.
Seems strange, doesn't it?
Bills have dominated on both sides of the ball. 1st and 10 on the 14-yard line. Harbaugh trying to go to the rookie Anthony Morgan, and the pass is caught a yard shy of a 1st down.
In the first half of this game, it was the Buffalo Bills who were having trouble protecting their passer. They finally got their act together. They shut down Bruce Smith and company, and were able to get their time and get it going.
Bruce Smith on the sidelines now, and Mark Pike, who started last week against Tampa Bay, in the game. 2nd down and 1. And the handoff is to Neil Anderson. Cornelius Bennett trying to prevent the 1st down.
Bennett's so dangerous in pursuit. One of the quickest linebackers in the league. They turned him loose earlier when they were having trouble up front, sometimes playing just with 2 defensive linemen, giving Cornelius a chance to come into the middle, as he did in college, and just go after the football. He has had one great season so far in 1991.
3rd down and 1. Marcus Patton has come in the game. He's a good speed rusher. They're showing a safety blitz. Harbaugh, penalty markers down, and Morris makes the reception, but it will be no play, and the penalty will be against the offense prior to the snap.
The Bears' offensive line had too big of eyes on that play. They could see the blitz coming, and they got up early.
Number 75, moving prior to the snap. Third down.
So instead of 3rd down and 1, it'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Bears, who were leading 6-0 in this game before the Bills scored with 12 seconds left in the first half on a Kelly to Al Edwards 33-yard bomb, and it's been all Buffalo since then.
That's a sign of the confidence they have in Harbaugh as a throwing quarterback, going for the pass on a 3rd and 1 situation.
And Bruce Smith is coming back in the game at defensive end. Harbaugh on 3rd and 6, and the pass deflected in and out of the hands of Glenn Kozlowski. The pass appeared to be there, but it's broken up and it's 4th down.
And after having a couple of opportunities to throw when he was not molested, Harbaugh again sees a host of blue jerseys right in his face as he goes to throw that football.
Amazingly enough, the Bills have no sacks on Harbaugh, but have they made life miserable for him in the latter stages of this game. Maury Buford to kick. Al Edwards back deep for Buffalo. Edwards with the fair catch, and once again the Bills will have ideal field position, 3 yards shy of midfield following a 35-yard kick by Maury Buford.
Cornelius Bennett, a huge smile on the sideline, and deservedly so. This man has another side to it. Great player at Alabama for so many years, and that's the number he wore at Alabama, 97. Well, when he came here, he wasn't wearing that number. Scott Radisek had it. He was wearing 55. The fans wrote in. They said, Cornelius, we loved you as 97. When Scott Radisek left, Cornelius went to 97.
Not surprised. First down on the 47. Jim Kelly's pass is caught. That's Don Beebe in traffic making the catch, and a first down for the Bills. Gain of 16 yards.
Kelly showing his arm strength on that play. Threw it right through the defense. He loves to do that. Gets himself in trouble occasionally because of it.
Really been on rhythm here in the second half.
Ooh,
that is a play, nearly broken play. Thurman Thomas fumbles the ball into the hands of Donnell Wolford. The Bears get it back. And Wolford down the sideline. Kelly tries for him. And James Lofton ultimately makes the stop. A 30-yard return on the fumble by Donnell Wolford, and the Bears get the ball back.
That ball was knocked out from behind. One of the Bears just simply popped in. Watch Kelly run right into Thurman Thomas. A broken play. Thomas makes the most of it. But watch the Bears as they come in from behind, and someone is going to pop that ball away. It's Singletary and number 20, Mark Carrier, that popped the arm and knock it clean for Wolford. Watch number 20, Carrier, right on that football with the helmet to pop it loose.
Let's see if the Bears can capitalize with 48 seconds remaining in the third quarter. They're on the Bills' 48. Harbaugh with time, and he completes the pass to Anthony Morgan. And a first down inside the 30-yard line. Leonard Smith the tackle, and a gain of 19 for the Bears.
You could hear Anthony Morgan's teeth rattle up here after that hit. And a big smile on the sideline. Wolford picking up big yardage after he scooped up that fumble.
Morgan was inactive against the Jets with a knee injury, has caught 3 passes today for 36 yards.
He really has done well. Not only a rookie, but a low draft choice for them, who has really been productive.
First
number 5 in 91.
On the 29. Harbaugh pumps, and he completes the pass to James Rouse to the 20-yard line as time runs out in the third quarter. So the Bears end the quarter on an upbeat note. That's the end of the third quarter, and our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
This is CBS.
Hey, how's Anna Karenina doing?
Fine, fine. She had her spine replaced yesterday. Out there at Copperfield.
Oh, he's the picture of health. They just took out his appendix. Yo, how's that textbook case doing?
Oh, he's better. They removed the colon.
We've decided to recover our book, the 9X Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here.
Of all the
Some beer companies pour their money into expensive racing events. Does that make your beer taste better? Other beer companies pour their money into commercials with glamour and glitz. But you foot the bill. But at Genesee, we pour our money into the purest water and the finest grains. Jenny Light, the light beer that's real beer.
Join us Monday
for News 4 Buffalo at 5.
Start of the fourth quarter, Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen with the Bills leading the Bears 21-6. 2 opportunities went by the boards for the Bears because of penalties. This was in the first quarter when Jim Kelly's pass was intercepted by Mark Carrier, ran in for the touchdown, called back because of penalty. It happened again in the second quarter. 2nd down and 1 for the Bears. Play fake. Harbaugh's pass is caught by Wendell Davis. The Bears have a first down. Nate Odoms rides him out of bounds and a gain of 14 yards.
And here's the penalty that lost the touchdown in the second half. Harbaugh is going to get the pass into the end zone right here. Offensive interference was called on this play as Neil Anderson dives into the end zone, and the ball was taken back. A couple of trips down there have resulted in field goals. They need the touch here.
First and goal on the 6-yard line. And they give it to James Rouse, former tailback, now playing fullback, and he drives to about the 1 before he is driven back by 5 red-helmeted Bills.
We talked earlier about this defense having to come to the occasion for the Chicago Bears. They did it with 3 and out, and then they took the football away from the Buffalo Bills and handed it back to their offense. And very quickly, Harbaugh and company have marched all the way down to the 1-yard line.
In fact, they have only 2 first downs in the second half. It's 2nd and goal on the 1. Here's Neil Anderson. He does not get in, and he is hit hard at the 1-yard line. Bruce Smith on the sidelines watching. Nate Odoms came in and stopped Anderson.
Nate Odoms flying in from the outside, got a good hit on Anderson before he even could turn the corner on that play. Trying to run in behind Stan Thomas, the big rookie, 300-pound left tackle for the Bears.
It'll be 3rd down and goal. Anderson in his last 4 carries has lost 16 yards. They bring in Darren Lewis.
They've got an extra tackle in at tight end there. Mattis outside of Thomas.
And it's a play fake, and Harbaugh has it incomplete, and it was Nate Odoms who knocked the ball, and Ron Mattis was an eligible receiver in the game, but Odoms spoiled all of that, and it's 4th down.
It didn't look to me like Mattis was going to catch that football anyway, and Ditka not too happy with that call by Greg Landry. A little bit of trickery here. It backfires on the Bears, but Nate Odoms, I think, would have knocked that ball loose even if Mattis would have got his hands on it.
4th down and goal.
I think you go to Neil Anderson. You go to your money man here. Let him run outside.
It's Neil Anderson outside, but he's not going to make it. Nate Odoms. Three straight great defensive plays by Nate Odoms, and the Bills take over on downs.
We saw a brilliant goal line stand by the Bears that ended sadly for them as the fumble was recovered in the end zone for a touchdown for the Bills. And here we see the Bills defense rising to the opportunity, stopping Harbaugh and company. 1st and goal on the 1. That is an outstanding series. 2 of those big plays by number 37, Nate Odoms. Bills will take over on the 1-yard line, leading 21-6
Running into the line is Thomas. The Bears are claiming that he's in his end zone, but it's not the case. William Perry was right there. So now the Bears are going to try and take advantage here and not let the Bills get any kind of breathing room. Odom's a hero on that goal line stand, both in run defense and pass defense. Second down and 10. Again, they go to Thomas, and Thomas brings it out to about the 3.
Nate Odoms, watch number 37, as he drives out and gets into perfect position on that 4th down play. Just before that, again, number 37. Watch him as he drives back on Mattis and flats that ball away. And it was Odoms just ahead of that made a fine tackle on Neil Anderson as he tried to go off left tackle. So what a big series for the corner.
3rd down and 8. The ball is on the 3. Here goes Thomas, and he brings it out to the 5-yard line where James Williams, who has played some today in relief of Tim Ryan, who's playing in place of the injured Trace Armstrong, and that'll be 4th down, and Chris Moore will kick it away.
A very conservative series for the Bills, who have only managed to get a little bit of room for their punter. Now, do you come after this punt? I think you've got to make something happen. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them try and block this.
Johnny Bailey is back deep.
There they are. Nope.
He gets the kick off.
But it's a lousy kick.
He'll get good field position as it goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. But by the way, Thurman Thomas has gained 100 yards for the 6th straight time at home, but the Bears with another chance.
The 1992 Olympic Summer Games. The year basketball's best. Trade NBA colors for red, white, and blue. For everyone who's longed to see America send nothing less than our very best. For every fan whose heart still beats faster when they hear the national anthem. Who dream that someday they too may soar so high. For every one of us, McDonald's is proud to sponsor the 1992 USA basketball team to help Olympic dreams come true.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
Well, just look at the time of possession, because the Bears had a huge edge, and that's been cut down.
It really has. The Bills have done a much better job both on offense and defense in this second half. A lot of those yards by Thomas have come in this second half. You see the frustration on that Bears sideline. They have blown a lot of opportunities here in this ball game.
Bears had a 15-minute edge at halftime, and time of possession now cut to 6. 11:03 remaining in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 on the 35 for the Bears. Neil Anderson has Thayer blocking in front of him, and Anderson with a 1st down. And a fine run by Neil. Stopped by Leonard Smith, and a gain of 21 yards.
Huge run by Neil Anderson as he drives downfield. Nobody home for the Bills defense. They had come back strong in this second half. But that's the kind of run weakness that they exhibited throughout the early part of this season. And right there, that play sets up another opportunity for the Bears.
21-yard gain by Anderson is his biggest gain of the game. 1st down on the 13. Rouse in motion. Again, Thayer blocking for Anderson. And that's Ray Bentley who makes the shoe top tackle to bring up second down.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
Well, the United States has won the Ryder Cup for the first time in 8 years. Pretty close, though, over Europe, 14.5 to 13.5 at Kiowa Island in South Carolina.
Dick, looking back on the field, weren't the Bears just down here a moment ago? And the Bills defense have got to be saying the same thing. We had our feet in the end zone just moments ago. The Bears are hoping that this one doesn't end the same way. They need the touchdown right here.
2nd down and 9. Harbaugh's pass is caught inside the 5-yard line. Wendell Davis, I believe, made the catch inside the 5. It would be another first down for the Bears.
Bruce Smith on the sideline, Dick, and that has made a difference as they have gone repeatedly at the left side of this defense and have had time to throw the football. And I think maybe Mike Ditka might call this short yardage play. The last time they were down there, Landry called the play, and they had a little trickery. They didn't get in there. Ditka probably called this one.
1st and goal on the 2. And the pitch to Anderson. And Anderson dives in for the score. Shane Conlon had a shot at him. And Anderson all of a sudden put on the Jets and got in for the touchdown. And the 3rd touchdown rushing of the year. And the Bears score. And it is now 21-12 with plenty of time remaining. 8:45. And time for refreshment for Iron Mike.
We'll take a drink of water on that one. Boy, what a powerful weapon these two backs, Thurman Thomas and Neil Anderson, are. The two best all-around backs in the NFL.
Kevin Butler holding his Harbaugh. The kick is good. And it's now 21-13. Bears still need 2 scores, however.
Shane Conlon is going to take 1 step inside. Well, that's 1 too many. He's not going to be able to make it to the outside. Kirby Jackson misses. Shane Conlon misses. Well, Neil Anderson didn't.
It's stuck. You see? Yeah. Every channel. Light beer. Light beer. Well, we're going to have to drain it. Grab anything that'll hold beer. Oh, and call some friends over.
Will you look at that? Yeah, I'm looking. Miller Lite made beer better. The great Pilsner taste keeps you ahead of it all. Everybody likes that. You don't say beer now, you say light. The beer that beers become. Miller Lite. Is it? And that's that.
In the spirit of the Olympic Games, the Postal Service would like to present... Two-day priority mail. That's delivery in just 2 days of up to 2 pounds for just $2.90. Remember, 2 days, 2 pounds, $2.90. 2-day priority mail from your Postal Service.
We deliver for you.
Official sponsor of the 1992 Olympic Games.
So how many cars does Mercedes test crash every year?
Oh, I say about 100. You can never learn enough. Ever since we have it patented, we have been improving this concept of the energy-absorbing car body.
But other companies use the concept.
We have never enforced the patent.
So Mercedes gave away a basic safety advance for free?
There are some things in life that are too important not to share.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. United States Postal Service, we deliver for you. And by Miller Lite, it's it. And that's that.
Back here at Rich Stadium, Kevin Butler kicking off. An 8-point lead for the Buffalo Bills. Al Edwards returning for Buffalo. Breaks 1 tackler and is down at the 22-yard line.
But Dick, with all of the holding going on in the NFL, the defensive linemen have finally had to react, and they have gone to a power tool.
I'm worried about
this. This is pure silicone. Now, offensive linemen complaining that these defensive linemen are spraying this all over their uniforms. Now, what this does, it makes it very slick. I can't even hang on to your jersey with that stuff on there. And actually, you hear these offensive linemen talking about the defensive linemen as being as slick as greased pigs out there on the field.
Thank you. First down on the 23 and a long pass.
Oh!
Lofton will dance into the end zone for a touchdown, 77 yards, beating Lemuel Stinson. I get doused with silicone, and the Bears get doused with a Kelly to Lofton 77-yarder.
Lofton, 35 years old, can still run by those defenders. He proved it again right there.
Longest pass of the year by the Buffalo Bills, James Lofton, who last week led the Bills with 5 catches and a touchdown pass. He's gone over 100 yards today. And Scott Norwood makes good on the conversion. It's now 28-13 in favor of the Bills.
James Lofton just runs straight down the field, using that great speed and those long legs of his. But notice how perfectly this pass is thrown. Breaking away from Stinson on that play and just backing into the end zone. Look at the bottom of your screen down here. Number 80, Lofton. Stinson, with an eye on him, just does not have the foot speed to keep up with the lanky receiver. And the only bad news here is that your defense has only had one play to rest.
Longest touchdown reception for James Lofton in 7 years.
I guess that's what they mean when they say explosive offense.
I understand the Bills were kidding him because he played when you played. So that must make Lofton pretty old. We know you're kind of old, but no,
they were telling him that actually we missed each other by 2 years. Started in 1978. I left and departed. We played a lot of games against Green Bay. I would have enjoyed, actually I wouldn't have enjoyed playing against him. I'm glad they had enough tools back in those days without Lofton.
You saw the Cowboys beat the Giants. They're going to be clamoring for a quarterback change, I'm sure, this week. Troy Aikman hit Michael Irvin with a 23-yard pass with a little more than 2 minutes to go for the victory for the Dallas Cowboys. Meanwhile, the Bills took only 22 seconds to get that 7 back.
That's not ball control.
Mark Green is back. Brad DeLuiso will kick off for the Bills. 8:23 remaining in the fourth quarter. Picked up by Bailey. And Johnny Bailey is down at the 31-yard line. A return of 19 yards. Tampa Bay headed for 0-5. And the Lions on the other side of the ledger looks like there'll be a 4-1 team. New Orleans
continues. Well, that's a team that doesn't surprise a lot of people inside of football, but boy, they have come on strong in that NFC West.
That makes that 49er game coming up with the Raiders so much more critical for San Francisco. Second half of our doubleheader here on CBS.
Troy Aikman must have recovered from that 11-sack shellacking we saw Philadelphia put on him.
First down on the 31-yard line. A design rollout by Harbaugh under deep pressure. Throws it up for grabs, and it's intercepted by Kirby Jackson. Let's see if he stayed in bounds, and apparently he did. Buffalo ball.
Harbaugh getting up shakily on that play. Leon Seals, the man who dumped Harbaugh on his back. Watch the pressure from the left side of your screen. Harbaugh rolling out to get a little extra time, and there comes number 96, Seals, right on top of him. Watch the end of the play. Bumping the ball, that's 37, Nate Odoms, another big play by Odoms, and number 47, Kirby Jackson, hauls in the ball.
Pass was intended for Tom Waddle, not a big guy. It was over his head, and Thurman Thomas carries the ball to the 30-yard line as the clock and everything on the Buffalo side now.
The Buffalo Bills have the opportunity anytime they want to slow down the pace, and this might be a good time to do it. Their defense has not had a lot of time to rest, and you notice they've gone back into the huddle here. Kelly taking his time. Run a little time off the clock, let those defensive guys get a little bit of a blow, and see if you can eat up some of this clock.
2nd down and 2. They're letting that clock run down a lot more than they did in the first half. Thomas, who's gone over 100 yards, is short of a first down. That'll bring up 3rd down. Making the tackle was John Roper.
Well, ordinarily, we've watched Kelly snap the ball with 28, 29 seconds on the clock. Watch the clock, left side of your screen, and let's see what he opts to do in this situation. They bring the big bulls onto the field. They've got 3 tight ends on the field at this moment. Metzlars and Roll, as well as McKellar.
Short. Thomas is going to lose yardage that time, and that will bring up 4th down for the Bills, but the clock continues to run. Less than 6.5 minutes remaining, and the Bears are 3 scores away from taking the lead, and they're not going to kick.
They're going to go for it here on 4th and 3. They feel it's outside of field goal range into the wind. They're going to try and catch him. They did. They got 12 men on the field.
And the pass to Lofton is complete, but a marker is down.
I think
if it's against the Bears, it'll count.
Dick, I think it's because the Bears had too many men on the field. I think they had 13 on the field.
They don't even allow you to have 12 on the field.
That's right. 12 was enough to get a penalty. But the pass will stand if that's the case, and it'll be 1st down for the Buffalo Bills.
It would be a 21-yard reception.
Now,
12-man defense. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
Quick huddle again. Do you see the 2 men at the far side of the field? See them spreading off? 1, 2, 3. They may have had 14 on the field.
1st down on the 10-yard line. The Bills can get a 1st down without scoring here. They're up 28-13, and if they score here, they want to make an adjustment with the clock. Singletary right in the middle of whatever dispute that is. Thurman Thomas, nothing inside, goes outside, goes into the end zone to ice it for Buffalo. Second touchdown rushing for Thurman Thomas this year, a 10-yard score. Thomas has gone over 100 yards today rushing, and Lofton has gone over 100 passing, catching with 122. Scott Norwood. 35-13. And a penalty marker is down right at the line of scrimmage. It'll be against the Bills, so take off that extra point. Buffalo has owned this second half, and when the Chicago Bears finally scored their first touchdown of the game, it took the Bills 22 seconds to get it right back. And now they've gone in for another.
Number 78, 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Keith Van Horn. They put him in because of his size and his height. Taking advantage of that big lanky body and those long arms may have said something that the referees didn't like. You can't lose your cool in there.
Bears to a man shaking their heads. The Buffalo Bills may be one of 3 unbeaten teams in the NFL. They may be the best the way they're looking today after a slow start. Norwood again to try the extra point. This would be a 25-yard kick. Same result. It's 35-13.
Thurman Thomas running in, and what great talent, backs out of the hole and then uses his great speed and elusiveness to break away from that tackle and step into the end zone.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. The Los Angeles Raiders have always loved the bomb. Throughout the 70s, it was made possible by the impeccable pass protection of left tackle Art Shell, left guard Gene Upshaw, and center Jim Otto. Talent so great that each made it to the Hall of Fame. As individuals, each made the passing game go. Together as teammates, they made the Raiders the best they can be.
Most of my friends don't know what they're going to do after graduation, but I've already locked in guaranteed skill training in the Army. Qualify now and you can reserve even the Army's most sought-after technical training up to 12 months in advance through the Army's delayed entry program. Sure, being a soldier won't be easy, but then nothing worth having ever is.
Howard Ballard. Watch his second surge here on Tim Ryan. They lock up on this play initially, and then watch what Ballard does to Ryan. Picks him up and dives on him and drives him to the ground. Well, and that just springs Thurman Thomas into the end zone.
Brad Deloiso kicking off. Mark Green, 1 yard in the end zone, returning for the Bears. And he is stopped at the 13-yard line. Don't forget, coming up, the second half of our CBS doubleheader becomes more important for the 49ers at the Raiders because of the fact that the Saints headed for 5-0. Some of you will see Green Bay against the Rams in Anaheim. And they sold out at the Los Angeles Coliseum.
It's been a long time since they've done that.
80,366. This game was sold out last July. There's a mystique about the Bears. As far as the fans go, the pass is caught by Wendell Davis. A first down for Chicago. Gain of 15. And a penalty marker is down back at the line of scrimmage. It'll be defensive holding called against the Buffalo Bills. So Buffalo has poured it on in the second half. 5:32 remaining in the fourth quarter. It's 35-13, the Bills. And a first down for Chicago. Penalty was against Odell Haggins. And a first down for the Chicago Bears. 680 yards in total offense in this game. Bears need 4 scores to come back and win in 5:25. Tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete on first down, and once again, Bills in the Bears' faces.
Look at the difference in these two halves. The second half, the Bills have had 289 yards of offense. Wow. But the defense has come up with the big plays today just as well, and they have really been inspired here in this second half.
Bears going with 4 wide receivers on every down. Second down and 10. They'll run it, and they'll run it to no success. Darren Lewis caught for the loss on the play of 4 yards.
Carlton Bailey right there on top of him. We talked about inspired play by this defense. You saw it right there as Bailey slashed in to take Lewis to the ground.
Third down and 14 for the Bears. Cornelius Bennett right in the middle, showing blitz, and here comes Harbaugh. He's protected, but again the pass is batted down, and once again Odell Haggins gets his hand on it, and that'll be fourth down for Chicago.
Haggins was out in San Francisco on the practice squad last year, getting a chance to play here and celebrating. Former Florida State star. A penalty just a moment ago for slap up to the side of the head, illegal use of hands. Came right back with a big play.
Maury Buford will kick, and back is Al Edwards. Who would have thought at halftime with the score 7-6 that the Bills would run up 35 points, and they're not done. Backpedaling is Edwards on a fine punt by Buford, and he is out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Well, tonight on CBS, it all starts with 60 Minutes. Trying Juanita Maxwell for murder would be easy if she were only one person. What do they mean, only one person? Well, tune in tonight and find out. Followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie Mission of the Shark, starring Stacy Keach and Richard Thomas. An incredible true story of a battle of survival by 880 sailors in shark-infested waters. That's all tonight on CBS. Well, Jim Kelly can take the rest of the afternoon off. Frank Reich is taking over for the Bills on the 32-yard line, first down. Kenneth Davis on first down with a penalty marker thrown. James Williams on the stop.
The second penalty marker thrown from the secondary as well. I think Reich is in there because they're concerned about Kelly's ankle. We've seen him limp several times coming off the field. They don't want to get him hurt with this kind of lead and only that much time left in the clock in the fourth quarter.
Offside. Number 71 defense. Holding. 84 offense. The penalty's offset. Replay first down.
James Williams offside, but holding was Keith McKellar.
Dick, there's another good reason to put Frank Reich in there. The way quarterbacks have been going down during this season, you need to have a second quarterback standing in the wings. Frank Reich has done that very efficiently for these Buffalo Bills.
First and 10 on the 32 as they replay the down. 4:19 remaining in the fourth quarter. Kenneth Davis going off the left side.
Kenneth Davis carry. You notice that Kenneth Davis went down inbounds. drop that shoulder on the ground to keep the clock moving.
Well, Jim Kelly, after a slow start, completes a very impressive afternoon, and for the fourth time this year has thrown for over 300 yards, including 3 touchdowns to raise his season's average to 14, his season's mark to 14. He came in leading the NFL.
Kelly talked about this being a big game right at the opening of this show. They haven't been able to beat the big powers of the NFC, in particular at home. Getting Chicago here, winning this game, a huge step forward for the Buffalo Bills.
2nd down and 6. Again, they go to Davis. Penalty markers are down, and Bears are trying to strip the ball away from Davis. Making the tackle was Marcus Paul, but there's another flag. A gain of 4 yards. This time it'll be holding against the Buffalo Bills. Not only has the Buffalo offense done the job with moving the ball impressively with Kelly at the helm, but what about the defense today?
They have been most impressive. Bruce Smith back today and showing why they missed him so much. You see him taking off his hat to the crowd. I don't blame him for that. The other thing he proved to himself today is that he is ready to play football, although he will have difficulty next week. He hasn't had a lot of practice. He's going to be really sore after this ball game.
And the great linebacking crew, you saw one right there for the Bills. That was Darryl Talley. 2nd down and 16. Davis off the right side for a couple of yards. Dante Jones, who's in for Singletary, the tackle. But when you talk about the defense in the game, it was the goal line stand following a fumble recovered by the Bears.
40-second time.
A goal line stand by the Buffalo Bills, and Nate Odoms was the hero on 4th down. Timeout called.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sports Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
We're back here in Buffalo. We want to remind you that this game is presented by authority of the National Football League and the CBS telecast, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down and 15 for the Bills. Davis trying to chew up some more time. That will bring up 4th down as Dante Jones makes the tackle. And the Chicago Bears will call the timeout before that last break. Call another one.
After a second timeout, 40-second time.
Well, the Bills go west in a tough opponent next week, Merlin.
Kansas City Chiefs, another team that has done extremely well here in the early going. Bit of a break against Indianapolis, and one of the hard luck teams of the year, Cincinnati Bengals. And they always have a tough time with New England.
Before leaving the parking areas today, remember, seatbelts.
Coming up next, 49ers and Raiders, Packers and Rams for many of you. Only 6 points were scored in this game until 12 seconds remained in the first half, and then 42 points scored since. No one ever thought that it would be a high-scoring affair at halftime.
Steve McMichael just talking to Singletary, and he said, "Could you believe this?" And Singletary just shook his head and said, "No way. I couldn't believe what happened to us here in the second half. This has been a real stunner for Chicago."
On 4th down, Chris Moore gets off the kick, and a fair catch called by Johnny Bailey at the 29-yard line. For the Bears, they came into the tough Rich Stadium Lions Den, and next week they've got the Washington Redskins at home, and after a week off, a couple of road games.
We saw the Redskins in that game against the Bengals last week. They are tough. Green Bay, after a week off, which might be welcome for these Bears to let Muster and some of the injured heal, and they go to Green Bay and a couple of other tough ball games. Well,
Harbaugh's out of the game, and Peter Tom Willis will finish it off.
Chance to showcase his passing skills.
First down on the 29 for Willis. And the pass is caught by Tom Waddle. Second reception of the day for Waddle. Odom's on the tackle. Well, in the private battle between Harbaugh, a Michigan man, and Willis, Florida State, it was all Willis yesterday for the Seminoles, wasn't it?
PT had his way yesterday.
Second down and 2. And I believe the pass is caught, and a great catch by Ron Morris with a defender on his back.
Mike Ditka said something very interesting about P.T. Willis yesterday. He said he's the kind of young man, if he gets in the ball game, we may never get him out. He really has excellent passing skills.
First down with 2:19 to go.
Whoa.
Incomplete, intended for Wendell Davis.
As the running game has declined for this team, they have seemed to depend more and more this year on the passing game. And you would have to wonder that if that is a future direction for this Bear team, and boy, wouldn't that be a switch? Perhaps you go to a P.T. Willis, who really has that quick release and those fine eyes. But somehow I can't see the Bears as a passing team. I don't think that's Ditka's personality.
Second down and 10. Willis going up top, and he completes to Ron Morris into Buffalo territory inside the 30. Well, Willis may be a good passer, but Jim Harbaugh may be the best quarterback for this team, passing and running. And we have wound down to the 2-minute warning here at Rich Stadium. Fine day for the Bills. Defensively, offensively, every way.
Bills wide receiver.
So how many cars does Mercedes test crash every year?
Oh, I say about 100. You can never learn enough. Ever since we have it patented, we have been improving this concept of the energy-absorbing car body.
But other companies use the concept.
We have never enforced the patent.
So Mercedes gave away a basic safety advance for free?
There are some things in life that are too important not to share.
Pretend your TV is a beer mug. We're gonna pour you a Miller Lite. Whoops, Sorry, foam got on your carpet. Now, tilt the TV towards you and taste why light is what beer is today.
The great Pilsner taste keeps you ahead of it all.
Everybody likes that.
Can we pour you another?
Hey, I know. Why not buy 6 more TVs and invite some friends over?
Miller Lite.
It's it.
And that's that.
The temperature never drops below 0. That's very important to remember, especially at a time like this, when it's very deserted and very cold. Ah, you did remember 0 antifreeze. The temperature never drops below 0.
If your sporty car doesn't feel so sporty anymore, you need a change. To BF Goodrich TA tires, put on a set and feel a whole new level of performance.
2 minutes remaining in the game, and a sellout crowd here at Rich Stadium treated to a Buffalo dominance in the second half, offensively and defensively. 35 points, living up to their renowned prolific scoring ability, and the defense made it all happen, getting in Harbaugh's face repeatedly from the latter stages of the first half throughout this second half. First and 10 on the 28-yard line for Peter Tom Willis. Pass is complete to Tom Waddle on the 20-yard line, just short of the first down. Bears will go to 4-1 following the loss, and with the Lions successful, they go on and win. They're still playing and leading. They would move into a tie for first with the Bears in the NFC Central. Mark Green, out of bounds, will stop the clock with 1:31 showing, and a gain of 14 yards on that play.
It's a first down at the 5.
We want to thank some people while we have a few moments in the waning seconds. Today's game produced by Michael Burks and directed by Andy J. Kendall. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. First and goal for the Bears on the 5-yard line. Willis Drills it off the hands of Anthony Morgan, incomplete.
This win against the Bears, not only so positive for this very avid and partisan 80,000 plus crowd, but a big step for this Buffalo Bill team. Hard to believe, but even though they went all the way to the Super Bowl last year and came within a missed field goal of winning that game, they still have a little bit of an identity problem. And being able to bring the Bears in today and demonstrate their superiority against a very solid NFC team makes them even feel better about themselves.
2nd and goal on the 5-yard line. Here is Green diving to the 1-yard line. I think that's a good point, Merlin, because the Bills lost to the Giants, easily could have won. It was that close, 1-point game. But when you beat the Bears, you get sort of a national attention. And I think the fans in Western New York, who normally don't fill the stadium for NFC teams, know that when the Bears come in, or the 49ers or the Giants, and they rarely do, it's a special time.
Well, they certainly have been able to fill the stadium this year. Not a problem with. They've also been able to fill the sky with footballs, and the kind of offensive lightning that is promised here in Buffalo has certainly been delivered here in the second half.
Well, at one point, the Bills scored 35 points in 25 minutes.
That's their 3rd timeout.
So is explosive may be an understatement. Last timeout called by Chicago. Bills will go to 5-0. It's been a scramble the rest of the way.
They started it right with that big win over Miami, a comeback victory in their first game of the season. And they have found a way to win, much as the Bears have had to. Blowing out the Pittsburgh Steelers in their second game and then struggling the last 2 weeks, but still able to win. Well, they didn't struggle in the second half today. Offensively and defensively, they were extremely dominant.
Bears had a 6-0 lead. Had 2 touchdowns called back because of a penalty, and then the Bills struck to take a 1-point lead at halftime and then rolled. 3rd and goal on the 1-yard line, and Green over the top for the touchdown with 40 seconds to play. Will only affect the final margin. And for Mark Green, that is his first touchdown of the season.
Fridge is showing a few battle scars out there on that mound around his tummy. You look at the fingers, you see where that blood is coming from. The hands of the defensive linemen get beat up no matter what they do.
Well, he had a sack today.
He has played well. This is his best year in the last 3 years.
Kevin Butler, and it's 35-20. The extra point is good.
We talked about Bruce Smith working the Stairmaster. The Fridge works at 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. Now, I think that Stairmaster has to whine a little bit when the Fridge gets on and says, hey, baby, we're going for 2 hours here.
Probably the first Stairmaster ever to run away from a human being.
When we can get out of the house, it's going to escape, I can tell you that.
For the Bills, tale of 2 halves, dramatically explained. Second half, 26 minutes time of possession to just under 8 in the first half. They're not a ball control team by and large, but they had it today. But when they needed the touchdown, after the Bears scored their first touchdown, they struck quickly on the long pass. And when they needed to use up time, they were able to do that as well, with Thurman Thomas going over 100 yards again for the 6th straight time at home.
I really think that one of the things we have to say about this offense for the Bills is that it's not really a dramatically different kind of thing. They run the same plays out of their hurry up that they would run out of the huddle. But it does change the tempo of the game, and it does make it difficult for the defensive team to do the kinds of things they want to do. The Bears were extremely uncomfortable defensively here in the second half.
New Orleans is undefeated at 5-0. Tampa Bay is winless, but Detroit will move into a first-place tie There's an onside kick, and the Bills were ready for it, and Steve Tasker fell on top of it. Penalty marker is down.
Offsides on the kicking team. I think that will be refused.
So the Lions and the Bears all even atop the NFC Central, and the 49ers have struck first against the Raiders at the Coliseum. Many of you will be headed for that game. Others for the 1-3 Packers against the 1-3 Rams, and they're underway.
Cornelius Bennett, another fine performance here today. He's put together a string of them in this young season.
They're going to sit on this, use up the clock, and go away with a 5-0 record, as the Buffalo Bills will have won their 13th in a row here at Rich Stadium. And after a lot of close calls and tight victories, the Bears go down.
A day that Mike Ditka and his team could not find a way to win. They have done it. They have played, as you said, out of some very tight corners, but not today.
Heroes galore for the Bills, too many to mention. So I'll mention for Merlin Olsen, and this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Rich Stadium. The final score: the Bills 35 and the Bears 20. Stay tuned for game 2 of the doubleheader, as most of you will see the 49ers and the Raiders already underway. You are watching CBS coverage of the National Football League.
#1 airline across the Pacific now introduces renowned international service to London's Heathrow Airport. Come fly the airline that's uniting the world. United. Come fly the friendly skies.
When you look for champions, you look to CBS Sports.
Mick and Sylvia get all wrapped up in a hunt for lost treasure.
What the hell are you two doing? Bonding?
But a killer...
You're looking good. You want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
Well, you can taste it, you can feel it, you know you got it right. Everything else is just a lie. Just keep your Bud Light sound. Bud Light.
Excuse me. I couldn't help noticing that you were using the Mac machine.
Oh, really?
Yes. I happen to be here with a camera crew. No, they don't know exactly what's going on here. It doesn't matter. It's between you and me.
I travel the whole East Coast, and I use it all over.
Oh, I love my Mac card. It's so easy to use.
Sounds like a